their station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at some of our top stories this half hour, and we begin with breaking news on KSL. Police documents say the wife of a Utah National Guardsman confessed to killing her husband in their Cottonwood Heights home. She told police she shot him while he was sleeping before moving his body to a shallow grave. The statement also says she attempted to destroy evidence. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. More kindergarten students are opting out of mandatory vaccines. The CDC says that more than 125,000 new school children had exemptions last year. Public health officials are worried, saying curable diseases could be making the rounds in public schools soon. Israel promising a fast and significant response to Iran's missile attack earlier this week. The prime minister says Iran will pay a steep price for its attack. President Joe Biden says there are discussions happening concerning Israel's response.
We don't allow Israel, we advise Israel, and there's nothing going to happen today.
Iran says the strikes were retaliation for Israel killing Iran-backed militant leaders in the region, including the leader of Hezbollah in Lebanon. Your money at this moment, we've had a down morning, finished the day down yesterday, but we're off another 277 to start the day on the Dow. That's about 0.7%. The S&P is off 20. The NASDAQ down this hour by 45 points. Coming up, near record temps await us. If we get to 90, it'll be the first time in October ever we got to 90 degrees. We'll check that full forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I've got to tell you about my experience at Hale Center Theater, one of the opening nights for The Magician's Elephant. Now, I knew it was going to be a U.S. premiere. I knew this was going to be something brand new, but I wasn't quite prepared for just how charming this play indeed is. It's all about a young orphan boy who promised his dying mother that he would keep an eye on and watch out for his little sister, but where is she? Only the magician's elephant knows. You're going to love The Magician's Elephant. And I'll tell you, I'm used to spectacular things unfolding on the stage, but there is the exit of a major character that is simply magical, almost molecular. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen on a Hale Center Theater stage, and boy, that is saying something. Don't forget, we also have The Addams Family, still to come, Beauty and the Beast. Get your tickets now for A Christmas Carol. Go to hct.org.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Time again for traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. Len Thomas in the traffic center.
Oh, thank you, Tim. The slowest part of the drive is a couple of them. One is northbound I-15 coming out of Lehigh about SR 192, and that is SR 92, and that's coming off of 2100 north there. Around the corner, around the point of the mountain up 146 south, where that exit ramp, the northbound exit ramp, is closed, and that's adding to the slowing. A little bit more slowing there through Draper, and then you're just spotty slowing in the downtown area, looking pretty good, though. Other than that, and we do have a fresh crash, though, in Springville. It's 1400 North Springville, eastbound I-15, it says. We'll have to check that out in the cameras. Otherwise, up in Weber and Davis County, still got a slow drive northbound from Clinton and Sunset up through Roy to Riverdale, and southbound from Riverdale to Roy. At Utah Opera, breathtaking voices combined with Utah Symphony to create a musical experience unlike any other. Tickets start at $21 at utahopera.org. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Highs today going to be in the lower 80s, and then look what happens tomorrow. If we get there, 90 in the forecast. That would be a record high, first time ever in October. And then right back down to the lower 80s. So conference weekend, 82 Saturday, no chance of rain. Not even a cloud on Sunday with a high of 84. And right now in Salt Lake City, it's 63 degrees from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
As you just heard Tim Hughes report, we are keeping a very close eye on what is going on in the Middle East. Will Israel retaliate? When will that happen? They say it is going to be massive and swift, as we did 2 days ago when Iran launched a series of missiles at the Iron Dome over Israel. The moment we see any development on this story, we will make sure that you know about it first.
And the big question I will be asking and what I will be looking for is whether or not Israel attacks directly Iran's nuclear facilities. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Well, continuing to track developments on hurricane and tropical storm Helene. I caught this story, and David, it made me think this. Our employees, so beholden to their employer, they feel they cannot leave without permission. Let me explain. Hurricane survivors. Now, this tropical storm, the hurricane, hit a ton of different communities, and this one is in Tennessee. So hurricane survivors there claimed they were forced to work through imminent flooding. A nearby river is swelling, and now it's being reported that factory workers are claiming they were not allowed to get out of the factory that they were working in time. 11 workers swept away. So far, what we know of is only 5 were rescued. And now the company is under investigation.
Why'd you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there.
Now, when we talk about them being forced to work, it's not like they were chained or restrained. It was a threat. It was a threat that if you leave, can't promise that your job's going to be here when you return. And at times, I would think that is just as powerful as locking the doors.
Countdown. 2.
Look, we know that there are thousands of families that are going to be impacted by a very important vote. It's an issue on your ballot if you send your kids to school in the Alpine School District. It's the split, and this is a big deal. And so today, you'll hear from 2 members of the Alpine School Board. It is our top story in the 10 o'clock hour of our show. One of those school board members, Dave, is for the split, and the other one is against.
And it wasn't until I saw the size of the Alpine School District that I realized how much larger it is than everybody else. They have 10,000 more students in their school district. It's like 5 high schools, 5 full high schools filled with kids. That's how much bigger they are than the next closest. There's almost 80,000 kids in this school district. So, of course, they are bursting at the seams. The question is it worth it? to divide and subdivide and create all these new districts because it's going to be extremely, extremely expensive.
Launch countdown 1.
Missing for days. And now his wife is sitting in jail, booked in by police on suspicion of murdering him. Matthew Johnson was a longtime member of the Utah National Guard. And now police in Cottonwood Heights say they have evidence his wife shot him in his sleep. I want to tell you right now, if you have little kids in the car, this is going to be one of those stories we want to make sure we're warning you about. The details are raw and they're disturbing.
From what we were able to gather, the neighbors loved them both. I know Mr. Johnson was very well respected in his 19-year career with the Special Operations and Special Forces in the Army, so it is a tragedy for all.
When we first learned about this, it was so peculiar, it was suspicious, but we didn't have any idea what had happened. His car had been found close to the family home, but he had just disappeared. And we still don't know where his body is.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I think you bring up a point, Dave, that as we're looking through the police records and the evidence that police have filed with the jail, asking the jail to keep Jennifer Gledhill behind bars. We aren't clear yet if Matthew Johnson's body has been recovered, but we do know that the Cottonwood Heights chief of police and his detectives are saying they have evidence. We're going to walk you through some of that evidence that his wife shot him in the head while he slept.
After the argument, we know that the victim was shot and then his body removed from the home.
The body was removed from the home. This reminds me so much of an old case, Debbie, that was so covered here locally and even nationally, was Mark Hacking. Almost identical. Shot Lori Hacking in her bed, removed the body. It sounds like these accusations are almost identical.
So let me walk you through what we know about this case from reporting from our colleagues at KSL Television, at KSL.com, and also from information that the police have filed with the jail when they booked Johnson's wife in. We know that he was reported missing, according to KSL.com, on September 20th. And they're reporting that he was reported missing by his wife. And then police are saying he hadn't been heard from since the following day, September 21st, and his phone would go to voicemail.
So, again, as you're trying to piece this together, how much is the fact that she's involved as far as like announcing that he's missing? That's an odd twist.
So then I want to jump forward 7 days to the end of September in the Cottonwood Heights Police Department, saying they were in contact with a confidential informant. So it's a source that they've been able to find through this investigation, who was reporting that they had spoken to her on September 22nd, and that she had openly admitted to killing Johnson by shooting him in the head while he slept, and that and then they go on to say that they had served several search warrants had been obtained, and they served not only the search warrant on the home, but also on, it looks like perhaps some phones, and they found that there was a large bloodstain spot on the master bedroom carpet under the bed. And then on the bed frame slats, and that it appeared as though that there was some bleaching done to the walls, and also carpet cleaning supplies used. So allegedly, obstruction of justice and also murder is what she's been booked in on.
And it speaks to, if this turns out to be the case, it speaks to the level of detail. to not just commit the murder, but to then cover it up.
And then just one other detail. They said the mattress located in the bedroom at the time of the search was consistent with a new mattress, and that phone records showed that a new mattress was ordered on September 24th and arrived at the home a couple of days later. So that is the evidence that police allege that they have against 41-year-old Jennifer Gledhill. Matthew Johnson, according to police, was not only a missing man, but now they are alleging he's a murdered husband. There are many more developments in this story that we're learning about this morning. And next, we found out that there was a conflict brewing in their marriage. And she's actually the one who'd gone to court recently to ask for a protective order against her husband. But now he's the one who's dead. So we're going to ask KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas for his read on this latest development in this case.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
I finally decided a few months ago that enough was enough with the high electrical bills in the summer and the high heating bills in the winter, and it was time to replace our builder-grade windows of our 20-year-old home with the latest and greatest windows from Advanced Window Products. Ever since Jake and Nate showed me a demonstration of what a difference the right kind of window can have on my home's energy use, I couldn't get it off my mind. So my wife and I decided it was time. And man, am I glad we did. From the moment Ken showed up to give us a free in-home estimate, we've had such an outstanding experience through the entire process. Within an hour, we had financing set up, and then about 8 weeks later, the crew showed up and did what we thought was going to be a 2-day installation in a single day. Now our home is more comfortable. Our electrical bills have started to drop. We qualified for Energy Tracks credits to help pay for the windows, and we even took advantage of their expertise and replaced our sliding glass deck door with one that has a pet door built in. Look, I know you don't make a decision like this on a whim. You do your research. So do that. But make sure you call Advanced Window Products at 801-850-9100, and you can get a special deal of $3,000 off 10 windows or more if you mention Andy when you make the appointment. 801-850-9100 or go to advancedwindows.com.
This weekend, it's the fall return of General Conference. KSL is pleased to broadcast live the 194th Semi-Annual General Conference of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Coverage starts both Saturday and Sunday at 9:30. We invite you to join us at 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and streaming live on the app for KSL News Radio.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
My body is unique.
I'm not okay with using drugs for weight loss.
Dieting really hasn't worked for me.
These fad diets have hurt people that I care about.
I'm Dr. Jack Thomas with Skinny Utah. Since 2016, Skinny Utah has offered effective weight loss without the shots, prepackaged meals, hormones, or shakes. So many of us are troubled by the serious side effects of lose weight fast fads and are looking for answers as to why our bodies hold on to weight where other bodies don't. The answer is actually simple. Each body is different. At Skinny Utah, we use technology to learn why your specific body holds on to weight, which foods your body can use best, and which ones to stay away from so your weight loss can be sustainable. Right now, Skinny Utah is offering $700 off, something we have never done before. Take your health and weight loss journey seriously and safely. Schedule your free weight loss strategy session at skinnyutah.com.
I did it.
Safely.
Successfully.
At skinnyutah.com.
With Skinny Utah, you have nothing to lose but the weight.
I am Rochelle Morris, and I'm running for Salt Lake County Council at large. As I've spent time getting to know you, from Magna to Mill Creek and from Salt Lake City to Sandy, I've become even more convinced that there is so much that you and I have in common. In Salt Lake County, we want accountability for our tax dollars. We want collaborative problem solving to tackle housing affordability, homelessness, and transportation needs. We want safe parks and neighborhoods for our kids and our families. When you elect me in November, I will work earnestly to best serve and represent you. I'll deliver real results on the issues that matter most. Whether you live in the north end or the south end of the county, the east side or the west side, I will be your advocate. I love our county, and I'll get right to work making Salt Lake County work better for all of us. I'm Rochelle Morris, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Rochelle Morris for Salt Lake County Council.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the wife of a missing Cottonwood Heights man has confessed to killing her husband. In a police statement, Jennifer Gledhill says she shot the Utah National Guardsman in the head while he slept and buried his body in a shallow grave. Second, a nonprofit mental health group announced it is suspending all of its programs. The National Alliance on Mental Illness says it has serious financial issues and is laying off many workers while they reorganize. And third, more than 1 million homes across Georgia and the Carolinas remain without power a week after Hurricane Helene blew through the area. We'll look for a high today of 81 degrees, and right now a beautiful day, 63 and sunny in downtown Salt Lake City. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Well, police now accusing a Cottonwood Heights woman of murdering her husband, saying that they have collected evidence through what they call a confidential informant, which essentially is a police source, that Jennifer Gledhill, who's 41 years old, allegedly shot and killed her husband in his sleep, Matthew Johnson, a 51-year-old longtime member of the military, of the Utah National Guard. We are unclear at this point. We've reached out to the Cottonwood Heights Police Department, Dave, and I think you stated this well earlier, if they have recovered his body, because there's information that his body is alleged to have been removed from the home after he was shot.
Yeah, that's a detail that's very strange. Number one, not only that the crime was committed, but the ability to remove the body by herself, to relocate it to what they claim is a shallow grave at an undisclosed location. So to take this body, and I'm looking at family photos of this couple, and it's surprising to me that someone would be able to do that. That would be very difficult to do. So there's some I guess a lot of confusion of how that actually happened.
And this is normally where we're at in cases like this, is a lot of questions, and we will wait to hear more from police and from prosecutors throughout the day. I want to get to the other element of this case, or this situation, or these circumstances, and that is that she had filed for divorce, according to our reporting here at KSL, during the summer. And then Greg Skordas, I'm looking at a protective order filing. It looks like she went to the court, requested a protective order against her husband. Tell me if I'm reading this right. And the commissioner and the court denied her that protective order. And that looks like that happened in August.
You read it exactly right. And the commissioner found, Debbie, that there was not enough evidence presented from her to show that she was in imminent threat of violence or death against her. And that is that the commissioner found that there was no there's no proof of physical violence. That the problems they'd had, the domestic violence, the issues that they'd had were largely verbal. And there was no evidence that she had ever been assaulted or that she was in fear, reasonable fear of being assaulted. That was the reasoning that the commissioner denied the protective order at that time.
Greg, that's a great point. I don't think I fully understand what these protective orders or how easily these protective orders are handed out. Is it fairly difficult, or do you have to show a fair amount of support behind the request?
Usually, Dave, judges are very, I don't know, they sort of err on the side of granting the protective order because they don't want to have a situation like what we're talking about today, where they deny a protective order and then somebody gets hurt. So judges are quite liberal, and the law actually requires them to be quite liberal in granting protective orders if the judge reasonably believes that the petitioner, the person asking for the protective order, has been assaulted or is in fear, reasonable fear of being assaulted or being hurt by the perpetrator.
Greg, we have, and I sent this to you earlier. Our folks here at Broadcast House made sure they distributed the narrative of the judge's decision. And I'm reading, and maybe you could read along with me, the second paragraph in. It says, while respondent's conduct, which the respondent is him, the husband,
right,
is in some instances approaches the line of placing the petitioner in reasonable fear of imminent physical harm, from the evidence presented, he does not cross that line. And then the petitioner, her, submitted several videos taken by herself of incidents that she asserts constitutes the basis for entry of a protective order. But these videos portray petitioner as unafraid of respondent and equally confrontational toward him. And then the commissioner goes on to say further, the text messages between the parties show the petitioner, again, that's her, as reportedly berating, belittling, and demeaning the respondent, if not outright attempting to goad him into a violent response. So what do they do with that? And then they deny the protective order against her, but then do they ask him, like, does he need to request a protective order? I mean, how does that work from that point?
Yeah, he didn't request one. He never sought one, and so a judge won't just on his own issue one. She did, and for the reasons that you stated, the judge didn't order it. The judge sort of found that both of these people were goading each other, and in fact, it would have been easy. It's easy for us to say now, looking back, for one of them to just move out. Instead, I mean, they're still staying in the same house, sleeping in the same room. And from what we're hearing today, she's now apparently, and I'm just hearing this, confessed to shooting him while he was asleep in bed.
Well,
so
I want to clarify that, Greg. I think what we are, I feel comfortable reporting is that according to the affidavit that was on file at the jail that I've been reading, and it's the 3rd District Court affidavit of probable cause, that it looks like what police in Cottonwood Heights have done, they were in contact with a confidential informant who was reporting that they had spoken with Jennifer on the evening of September 22nd, at which time Jennifer Gledhill openly admitted to killing Johnson by shooting him in the head while he slept. So I want to make it clear that it's the source that it looks like the police have been able to talk to, who is reporting to them that's what she told the source.
Right. And police will, of course, want to corroborate that. So if the source said she shot him in the head and they find his body and he's got a bullet hole in the head, that would corroborate it. If the source said that she buried him in a shallow grave, at the park nearby, and they find his body in the park nearby, those would be corroborative of what the source said to help them prove that the information was reliable.
Greg, how crucial is it to find the body?
It's not absolutely crucial, but in this case, I don't think there's going to be any problem. They may have already found it from what we're hearing. So, yeah, I mean, that'll certainly establish the cause of death, the manner of death. The medical examiner will go through and do the autopsy and the other evaluation, and they'll determine what exactly caused his death.
Greg Skordas, thank you for joining us, KSL legal analyst.
It is a tragedy, and this story obviously very raw and developing right now. So our team of reporters and producers looking into it throughout the day. Any developments throughout the show, I've just reached out to the Cottonwood Heights Chief of Police, inviting him on the show We'll also be reaching out to other law enforcement officials about this developing story as well. And make sure you tune in this afternoon to Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News for your ride home from work, where he will have, certainly even more details about the developments. Straight ahead, the question popped in my mind, are employees so beholden to their employer they feel they can't leave without permission? Case in point that I want to talk about, hurricane survivors claiming they were essentially forced to work through imminent flooding as a nearby river was swelling. 11 workers were swept away with Tropical Storm Helene bearing down. Only 5 were rescued, and now the company is under investigation.
Why did you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes with a look at our top story for this half hour. As you've been hearing with David Dujanovic, police documents say the wife of a Utah National Guardsman confessed to killing her husband to a confidential informant. According to the statement, Jennifer Gledhill told the informant she shot Matthew Johnson in the head while he was sleeping, then moved his body to a shallow grave. We've reached out to Cottonwood Heights Police, and we'll bring you more information as it becomes available. In other news this hour, a new report from the Utah Department of Health and Human Services shows 1 in 12 Utahns are dealing with long COVID. Long COVID epidemiologist Rachel Kubiak says she's not surprised they found it was so prevalent.
A number of people have said, oh, actually, I have it, or my family member, my friend has it. There's a lot of connections to long COVID, I think, because it is so common.
Diagnosis is kind of tough because Kubiak says there are more than 200 symptoms associated with the condition, namely headaches, chronic sore throat, heavy fatigue, and getting very tired after basic tasks. Three teams clinched series wins in Major League Baseball's wildcard round. The Kansas City Royals completed a 2-game sweep of the Orioles in Baltimore. They'll play the Yankees in the next round. The Padres swept the Braves to set up a rivalry series with the LA Dodgers in the next round. And the Tigers won their first playoff series since 2013 with a sweep of the Astros. They're going to take on Cleveland in the next round. Your money at this moment, the markets have been down all morning. The NASDAQ bucking that trend right now. It's actually up almost 10 points. The S&P is down 9, and the the Dow is off 191 points. Coming up, short sleeves during the day, but sweaters at night. We'll check your full forecast and check on that conference weekend forecast for you next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, my favorite time of year. I absolutely love what's happening up in the mountains right now. The colors are incredible, and in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, there are so many great events that are going on, from concerts to ball games to conferences. It is my favorite time of year, and this is the time to make sure you have your reservations all set for Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Now, since the fall colors are at a premium right now, how about a drive up Parley's Canyon to Hotel Park City? That's where you will find Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. The views out of those amazing windows, and then anticipating the food that is being prepared. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Hotel Park City is the place to celebrate fall. Now let's talk about downtown Salt Lake City at 275 Southwest Temple. In the heart of everything going on, that perfect dinner is waiting for you. Don't miss it all this fall at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
This is Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical. I'm excited to let you know we're currently having a sale on power scooters. As we celebrate the spirit of freedom and independence, we want to make sure you have the chance to experience it. We have a wide range of power scooters designed to enhance your mobility, and they're all available at a discounted price. These special offers only come around every couple of years, and once they're gone, they're gone. Come visit us at any of our 11 locations to take advantage of these fantastic deals, or you can browse our selection of discounted scooters on our website. We're committed to providing the 5-star experience. We can't wait to assist you in finding the perfect power scooter. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents a gallon. How we looking out there, Len?
Well, Tim, as we come around the point of the mountain when she comes, it's a little bit slow from Timpanogos Highway to the northbound 146 South exit in Bluffdale, which is closed. Also, southbound 15 right here at 115 South that is got a car carrier sticking out in the left, just left of the ramp there. And so it's sticking out of traffic. Watch out for that. Also in the Ogden area, construction has been keeping the drive below speeds on I-15 northbound right now from Roy to Riverdale at the turnoff right now. Boo Lights returns to Utah's Hogle Zoo. Step into a bewitching world of pumpkins and glowing displays at Boo Lights, Hogle Zoo's signature fall events. Select nights in October. For tickets, visit hoglezoo.org. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Tell you, one of the nice things about this weather forecast, even though we're staring down the barrel of what could be a record high of 90 tomorrow, it's still cooling off nicely at night. Lows will be in the 50s for the next 7 days. After we hit that 90, right back to the lower 80s for your conference weekend. 82 looks like on Saturday and Sunday. A little bit warmer at 84 degrees, but just sunny skies, not even a cloud. Right now in Salt Lake City, it's warming up quickly. 63 from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
I want to give you the latest information on what Cottonwood Heights Police Department is alleging is the murder of 51-year-old Matthew Johnson. They have booked his wife, 41-year-old Jennifer Gledhill, into jail on suspicion of murder. In communication just moments ago with the Cottonwood Heights Police Department, Dave, I'm learning that as at this point, police are saying they have not located Johnson's body. But we do know, what we just talked about from records that the police department has filed with the jail, the evidence that they say they have amassed so far in this case, that they're alleging that she had told a confidential informant that she had shot her husband in the head, and that police have issued search warrants in the case, and they found what they allege is bloodstains in the bedroom area, and also showing that their search warrants on electronic devices say that a mattress was ordered at some point after his death.
And part of what stands out to me, and as we learn more about the details here, the fact that she had allegedly shot him and then was able to remove the body, carry it without any other witnesses, be able to carry the body, relocate it, dig a shallow grave, and then bury him to the point where they haven't found the body yet is very, very peculiar to me.
Story that's continuing to develop to develop. These are allegations. We will certainly continue to track the story throughout the show here, as well as throughout the day here at KSL News Radio with our team of reporters and producers in the newsroom.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
Boy, this story, Dave, I was reading it last night, and I really looked forward to talking to you about it for a number of reasons. And the first thing that came to mind as I was reading that Tennessee authorities are now investigating a plastics factory in Tennessee because of what the employees are alleging. That they were essentially forced to work and stay at work as Hurricane Helene, Tropical Storm Helene, was just dumping tons of water in this area, and the river was starting to swell. Are we just so beholden as employees to our employer that we don't leave even when we know things are getting bad?
Why'd you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there. And that's what I should have said to them. Why did you make us work when you knew you said in the statement you were monitoring it? Why'd you make us stay and work?
And part of what is so heartbreaking, and this man, as he describes it, is just absolutely awful. But I will say this. I think we were all surprised at the massive devastation, not just to Florida, but in Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, that this was able to create this path of destruction states away from where the hurricane hit.
But it sounded like to me that they were getting worried, and they were asking, "Can we leave? Not time yet. Not time yet. Give it a little more time." And now the factory itself, these workers are mourning the loss of their coworkers. This report that I'm reading out of Nashville says the raging waters ended up sweeping away 11 people from the factory. I think this happened as they were finally trying to leave. Only 5 were able to be rescued. 2 of them confirmed dead. And there were like rooftop rescues going on. I mean, they were bringing in helicopters to try to save some of these employees.
And to your point, the larger question of, did these workers feel so beholden to this company that they couldn't just say, "No, I'm not coming in," or "I am leaving"? How were there threats? Because obviously it wasn't like they locked the doors and then prevented them from leaving. But there was this underlying threat, it sounds like, that if you leave, no promises that you're going to have a job tomorrow.
So one employee said they should have evacuated when we got the flash flood warnings. And when they saw the parking lot, we asked them if we should evacuate, and they told us not yet. It wasn't bad enough. So what is it that we stay as employees? That we stay and we're told to stay if that's the case here. And this is now under investigation by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation because of these allegations. So they'll determine ultimately what happened. But what I really want to talk to you about is, what is it that we go to work and we stay there until we're told to leave, even though we know from looking outside things are getting so bad, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it home or make it out of this parking lot. But yet we still ask the bosses, and we stay.
We stay because we think we can't find a job elsewhere.
You think
we think that there's not another job out there. Maybe it's a self-confidence issue where we don't feel comfortable, or we like our job, whatever it might be, but we start playing this in our head that, I don't want to leave this job. That's a good job. It's reliable. Perhaps and when we talk about rural Tennessee, I don't know how hard it is to get jobs in rural Tennessee. I don't know if there's a plethora of jobs just waiting for people to step into.
But we do this in Salt Lake City, Utah, too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We know of people who've done it. We've stuck around. You and I've probably stuck around in times that we're thinking this might not be super safe for us to be in this situation when we're out in the field. Why? I think you have hit it on the head. We're afraid. We need to feed our families. We're afraid of losing our jobs. We don't want to have to find another job. We're also afraid of following our own intuition.
On a couple different levels. Our own intuition with our immediate safety, but our own intuition that maybe this job is not for me. I'm sure the bosses just didn't go from being incredible, caring, understanding bosses to, no, you can't leave despite the fact there's a flash flood warning. There were probably some warning signs that they ignored intuitively.
Let's take live phone calls. 801-575-TALK. I would love to hear from somebody who has quit their job over their working conditions. Your boss told you to do something, your boss told you to stay, and you're like, no way, I'm out. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. There are lots of mortgage lenders out there, so why choose Fink and McGregor? Here are some good reasons. We are a broker. That means we can shop loan terms on your behalf, including loan programs, rates, and closing costs. We make it easy. We can take your application within a few short minutes, either on the phone or in person, on our fast application website, 4minutemortgage.com. We can help sift through options to find the best solution for you. This can include loan programs, credit fixes, or loan strategies. We are fast, really fast. Most loans close within a couple weeks. Start to finish, we are here for you. Apply today at 4minutemortgage.com. Fink and McGregor, Mortgages Made Simple. 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
This weekend is the 194th Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Our coverage right here at KSL News Radio begins Saturday morning at 9:30. You can listen to us here at 102.7 FM as you're driving around, or you can listen to us on our free app. All you got to do is download the KSL News Radio app.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. In celebration of over 32 years of serving humans in Utah with their computer and tech needs, we've slashed our prices. And these are the new 2025 models. Here's the deal. You can get our new 2025 S1 desktop with a blazing Ryzen 5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing fast storage on this promotion. We also have our new 2025 SM3 laptop with the Intel i5 processor, 16 gigs, and over a terabyte of storage for $999. You can take one home today for $999. And you also get the peace of mind of our lifetime service warranty. We also have 12 months special financing available, and they start as low as $29 a month. But hurry in because supplies are limited. Because at PC Laptops, we love you. PCLaptops.com. Take home a blazing fast 2025 model desktop or laptop for $999 at PCLaptops.com.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new doors but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Peach Doors is here to make the entire process smooth and stress-free. Visit their showroom to see their wide selection of wood doors, durable fiberglass, energy-efficient aluminum, oversized glass bifold doors, and so much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
Exciting news, Master Electrical Services has joined Mountain Home Services.
I started my soda weight loss journey over a year ago, and it is so nice to be heading into the fall and winter holidays looking and feeling so much better than I did at this time in 2023. Best of all, I let go of that 70 pounds of fat and didn't have to use any medications, get any injections, or deal with any crazy side effects. My fellow soda client Vicky got amazing results too.
I have shed over 72 pounds and lost 47.5 inches of body fat. And I am off of every medication for the first time in my life. Oh my gosh, I'm so ecstatic about that.
Well, that excitement's contagious, isn't it? If you start now, you could be down 30 to even 50 pounds by the end of the holidays. It's as simple as going to sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com and clicking on Request a Nutritionist Callback. Soda is the #1 rated weight loss company in America for client results and client satisfaction. And you know why? Because soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the wife of a missing Cottonwood Heights man has apparently confessed to a confidential informant of killing her husband. In a police statement, the informant says she shot the Utah National Guardsman in the head while he slept and buried his body in a shallow grave. Second, tomorrow could see the hottest day ever recorded for October. KSL meteorologists saying we could hit 90. The rest of the week will stay in the mid-80s with lows near 55 under clear skies. And third, almost 200 people have died in the wake of Hurricane Helene. Vice President Kamala Harris promised federal aid after touring the devastated areas of Georgia and the Carolinas. We're going to shoot for a high today of, I say just, 81 degrees, still about 10 above seasonal normals, and right now in Salt Lake City, 63. Let's get you back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
And some of those who died, as Tim was just reporting, in the wake of Hurricane Helene, lost their lives trying to get home after the factory that they were working in Tennessee began to succumb to floodwaters. And now employees who did survive are asking this.
Why'd you make us work that day? Why? We shouldn't have worked. We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there. And that's what I should have said to them. Why did you make us work when you knew you were taking a statement, you were monitoring it? Why did you make us stay and work?
And Debbie, as I'm reading this, it says that it wasn't until water flooded into the parking lot and the power went out that the plant finally shut down and sent workers home. Like how long do you have to wait? Yeah. Like at what point do you realize this is not safe?
And we were talking about this question, like why do we stay around as employees when our intuition and our gut tells us it's time to get out? It's getting bad. Flash flood warnings. The river's there. It's swelling. The rains are coming down. Remember, in some areas we reported it rained for 30 hours straight. Well, now there's an investigation by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation into what happened and why. But we're also taking your calls. I mean, have you ever just decided to up and quit your job over working conditions? And you brought up a point earlier. You said, no, because we're afraid we can't find another job.
Yeah, it's a self-confidence thing. We don't believe in ourselves. And we think, oh, we're lucky to have this job and no one will ever hire me again, which is obviously totally untrue. You're going to be able to find a job. Taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. Let's start off with Lee in Ogden. Lee, have you ever had that experience?
Yeah, I used to work for a tow company that they had this tow truck that the starter went out on it, and it was a manual transmission, so they would have us park on a hill so we could jump start it because they didn't want to fix it. And I was a mechanic, and I told them, I'll fix it. And they refused to let me fix it, and he said if I keep complaining about it, he's going to fire me. And I told him, I said, you know what, this is an unsafe practices. I'm out. And then I reported them, and they shut down the business.
Wow.
You had to park on a hill to jump start it.
Because you would roll down the hill to get the engine fired up. Is that how that worked, Lee?
Yeah. Well, this company was super bad. I mean, you know, as a tow truck driver, we not only have the responsibility of getting the vehicle safely, but if that vehicle comes off the bed of the truck, then other people get injured or possibly killed, as happened up in Ogden.
Well, good for you for shutting down, for quitting and reporting when it's unsafe like that. Who knows? You absolutely could have saved lives. Thank you for doing that, Lee. It's not easy to do because when you do leave, even if you can't find another job, it might be a couple weeks away. It may be a month or two away.
Yeah, you're without a paycheck.
And that is the key. And if we're all living paycheck to paycheck, then can you really miss 2 weeks? Can you really miss a month?
Yeah. I think there was a lot of jobs where there's going to be more, unsafe working conditions than some jobs. But still, I mean, maybe you go to work and you're berated by your boss, and you're just trying to put up with that. I mean, Lee's circumstances put him in, imminent danger of physical harm, and he was worried about the safety of others. But think about, people who are harassed by their boss or by a coworker, and they feel like they have to keep that job because they want to keep the paycheck.
Yeah, the paycheck is the key. I will tell you, a lot of this is self-imposed, where I don't feel the pressure from the bosses, but I put my own pressure. And I think, well, I've got to do this because this is the only way they're going to like me. When bosses oftentimes have said, do not take chances, do not do this, stay safe. And they've told me this, but I'm the one that takes chances because I kind of put my own stuff, my own issues onto the bosses, and that is unfair.
Wendy, hi. Hi, Wendy. Have you ever quit a job because of your working conditions?
Absolutely, and I was terrified. I worked in a very niche type of job, so I thought, but it turns out my skill set could be applied in so many different areas, but I didn't quit until I actually had something in place, but then that job didn't work for me, so it was a matter of moving about and trying to find out what worked best for me. But again, my skill set in that very niche position translated into a different career for me, and I was much happier.
Nice.
Wendy, thank you so much for the call. I think she hit on something very important. I think oftentimes we look at our skill set and what we do at this job, and we think there's no other place that values this specific set of skills, or when I'm looking for a job out there, I'm looking for a lateral move, something that is almost identical to my previous job. But it's one thing that we have to understand and realize, and maybe talk to somebody else to help you understand, my skill that I've earned here translates to many other jobs, because it's very unlikely that it is so hyper-focused on just one task that it can't be learned, or you haven't been able to broaden it out to different jobs.
Dave and I talking about, why we stick around on our jobs, why we stay put, even though we might be working in horrible conditions or we fear for our own safety. That sounds like what happened in Tennessee to these plant workers, factory workers, who say they were denied when they wanted to leave and get away from the storms of Hurricane and Tropical Storm Helene. They were told they had to stick it out. I'm just reading one of the text messages, and we talked about there's all kinds of different circumstances, but at 57500, Dave, one of our texters said they were just, all the food they were eating was at their job, and they were so exhausted. So there sounds like there was very little work-life balance. So exhausted to eat dinner when they got home. $13 an hour wasn't worth it. Feeling like nothing more than dirt
Do you remember the old Saturday Night Live sketch with Al Franken, the Senator Al Franken, Stuart Smalley? I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. I think we need to say that to ourselves sometimes and realize, you know what, I might be in a bad situation, a bad job, and I am. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Police documents say the wife of a Utah National Guard member confessed to killing her husband to a confidential informant. According to the statement, Jennifer Gledhill told the informant she shot Matthew Johnson in the head while he was sleeping, then moved his body to a shallow grave. And we've reached out to Cottonwood Heights Police, and we'll bring you more information when it's available. Firefighters say they're making progress on the Yellow Lake wildfire, burning near Camas. As of this morning, it's covered 2,560 acres. It's 6% contained. They've been working to protect the YMCA camp and a gas pipeline in that area. The fire was determined to be human-caused, but that's still under investigation. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Israel is promising a fast and significant response to Iran's missile attack earlier this week. As he was leaving on a helicopter today, President Biden spoke to reporters outside the White House, says there are discussions underway.
We don't allow Israel, we advise Israel, and there's nothing going to happen today.
Iran fired almost 200 missiles at Israel earlier this week. Only a few of them got through. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average down on the day, 156 points, while the NASDAQ is up 25. And our KSL weather. Looks like another warm, sunny day. That's next. KSL News Time 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Nearly 70% of Utah's land is controlled by the federal government, severely limiting Utah's ability to actively manage and protect our natural resources. Our families, businesses, and communities know there's a better way. Utahns have been good stewards of our public lands for generations. That's why we're asking each and every Utahn to get informed, speak up, and learn more at standforourland.utah.gov.
They say good things come to those who wait. But this October, better things come to those who act now. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and October is the best month to replace your old furnace and air conditioner if you're trying to beat the winter rush. You see, we've structured our pre-season savings so that the sooner you buy, the more you save. Through the end of October, when you have Any Hour Services install your new furnace and air conditioner, you'll save $2,500 off any new system you choose. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. All you have to do to get this deal is get a hold of Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. After we show you what options are available, pick the system that best meets your needs, and we'll take $2,500 off. If you wait until November to call, you'll still save, but not as much. So if you want to save $2,500 off a new furnace and air conditioner, you need to call Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The Management Minute is a service of the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. A few years back, I had the privilege of being invited to High Table at one of the colleges at Oxford University in England. High Table is like the banquet you see in the movies, minus the ghosts floating overhead. Yes, this professor from Utah State University got to march into a hall as robed students stood in respect, then sat at a high table in front of distinguished scholars. It's not hard to be in awe. As we sat, the robed headmaster said, "It doesn't matter who you sit next to, everyone at this table is interesting." Everyone was interesting, but not more so than my brilliant colleagues at the Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. Universities are places of light and knowledge that change us. If you're ready for that change, try an MBA at Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
The Missionary Starter Package now at Mr. Mac is everything a missionary needs at an unbeatable value. It includes 1 slim or modern fit suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 Teflon treated washable ties, 1 mission belt, and a pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy walking shoes, all for just $595. Fit is never a problem at Mr. Mac with free in-store tailoring. Ask for the Missionary Starter Package at all 9 Mr. Mac locations.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Len Thomas.
I-15 is getting much better around the point of the mountain now, just below speeds from the top to 146 south, where the northbound exit is still closed. Now, the other slow spot at this time, it's been going on for a little while, is in Parley's Canyon, I-80 eastbound, heading up to Park City. It's from Mountain Hare, rather, to just past Mountain Dell, and I can't see any problems in there, what's causing it. It does look like to me, though, that traffic just started moving quite a bit better all of a sudden here. So if you're in that, let us know. And experience fall in Cedar City. Color featuring 4 scenic highways, Red Rock views and Cedar Breaks and Dixie National Forest. Shakespeare Festival recreating that is. Seasonal farmers markets, pumpkin patches, and more. Plan at a visit at cedarcity.com. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be warm and sunny today with a high around 81, and we could set a record tomorrow with a high near 90. Right now, 66 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Utah's largest school district, the Alpine School District, is facing a pretty big decision here, and voters will be asked to weigh in. You'll see it on your ballots if you live in the Alpine School District. You'll be asked if you're for or against a split. And it is not just a 50-50 split. There's some different cities that are involved in different splits. We're going to get into it, and we're going to talk to 2 school board members over the next 25 minutes. One is against, and one is for.
And the Alpine School District is the largest school district in the entire state. And it is very large. And it's not just the number of kids. It covers a huge swath of Utah County. So there are a lot of different cities involved. So we're very happy to have Sarah Beeson from the Alpine School District, or I should say the Alpine School Board, join us right now. And you are against this split. Let us know, first of all, what's your biggest concern?
Oh, wow. Well, first off, thanks for having us on this morning. And yeah, we've got some big issues to talk about for November because there's nothing else going on in the November election. In my mind, there's no presidential
This is
election.
the only one, yeah.
This is the most important one. It's funny because people say, you're either for or against. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily against a split, but I'm really concerned with the process of how we are approaching the split. And I believe that the process is just as crucial and as important as the outcome. Part of the things that I'm concerned about, and I tell people that I talk to all the time, it's kind of like getting your family in a car and you're getting ready to go on vacation and travel across the country, and you just don't say, get in the car, we're going to head out. You kind of say, okay, have we topped everything off with fluids? Do we have oil and gas, and how is our tires, and how are things looking? And there's just some things that, you can prepare for that can make transitions easy. You can't ever foresee car wrecks or road closures as you're traveling. But part of this is just the legislative piece to this. It's almost as if we're driving and we have legislators jogging next to the car writing code as we're moving forward. And that's a concern to me. For example, we don't yet know exactly, because it's not in state statute or code, what is to happen with district employees, like the district employees that are there at the school district. And they kind of would like to know that. So there's some, T's to cross, dots, I's to dot, to make sure that we're doing this in the right way. So we've got some things to do. legislatively to make sure that we are moving forward together. But
sorry, Sarah, just to jump in really quick, because typically when there is a split, if you split something up, then there is a division of assets. So you're going to divide up buildings and buses, and there will be a natural division there. But your concern is the division of personnel.
Yeah, well, and exactly what will happen. And some of those things, that's what I'm saying, is that causes a little bit of angst. And that's kind of been my point from the very beginning is, like I said, I'm not anti-split, but we need to make sure that we are doing things in the right way. Now, it's funny because you talk about two different splits. You know, we've got the west side of our district.
Explain that.
Yeah, well, you've got the west side of our district that includes that Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain area, Cedar Valley, Fairfield area. And then you've got my area, which is, they're calling that the potential central district split, which would be Lehigh, American Fork, Highland, Alpine, Cedar Hills, and a sliver of Draper for those that live in that Suncrest area. And so the West makes a little bit more sense to me in terms of splitting because it is growing. I mean, there's exponential growth out in the West that we're trying to, help alleviate and do the things that we need. And that brings me to the second point is talking a little bit about capital needs that are out there. We have a high school that needs to be built, and there's other schools that need to be built out there. And we want to make sure that those capital needs are met. We also have needs on the east side of our district, which is your Orem, Pleasant Grove, Linden, Vineyard areas, and making sure that those needs are met, which is, they have the opposite problem of the west side of the district. They are the folks that their schools are lower enrolled, and you're seeing a more mature community. And so those considerations, making sure that we have all those things set up so we're not disadvantaging one area over another. The other concern I have is that, for example, with this split, how it stands, we have 81,000 folks that live in that east area, and they won't even have the opportunity to vote on the split, and this will affect them.
So it's just two areas that are voting on the split. Your area, which would be the central district.
Correct.
And as you described, the Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain area, which would be the west district. And the other area, Orem et al., around there, won't have a vote.
Yeah, and that's again, part of that idea of the process. I feel as elected officials, and as you know, with the interlocal, our cities have been included in that. They are the ones that went out for that interlocal. I feel like there has been, I guess, maybe not as much of a collaborative effort as I think that we should have. I know that we've had board members and city council members meeting together, but sitting in a room meeting with people that only agree with your side, for me, isn't collaboration. It feels a little bit more of an echo chamber. There's such importance of being able to talk together of people who are on opposite sides of this, because there's blind spots. I have them, they have them, but we need to be working together. And it's the process part that is a concern to me. We also need to be making sure that we're carrying our public with us. And when you have, 81,000 voters that are disenfranchised, that can't give their opinion, that is a huge concern. And we need to make sure that we're carrying all those people with us as we are moving forward talking about a split.
We're speaking live right now in studio to Sarah Beeson. She's a member of the Alpine School Board. Although you said you're not completely against it, you are making arguments about your concerns regarding this split. We haven't talked about the kids yet, the children yet.
Yep.
How does a split, a three-way split potentially, of the Alpine School District impact the kiddos?
Thank you for asking that question, because that has also been on the forefront, I think, of all of our minds. And any time that topic moves, we're talking about the split and the kids become the peripheral instead of, consistently in front of us, then we have issues. And I'm fearful of the process just because there's so many more unknowns than knowns. And it feels more top down to me than bottom up. And that type of governance can cause frustration is what we're seeing. And if we know that the process is important and that it's causing frustration, I can only imagine the outcome. And we need to be thinking about how this is going to affect students. And, that it always leaks into, it starts a little bit with our teachers and that professional development and being able to meet together and be their best selves in their classrooms. And that trickles down to where we see student achievement. And when teachers are feeling like they're being left out of the conversation, or they haven't had the opportunity to voice their opinions, of course that trickles down. And so things have been going well at Alpine. really well. We've had great scores, but it's just some concerns to me, for example, with the central area split. I live in an area where when they were polled, these people in my area, the voters, only 11% of that population wanted or was considering a split. They didn't want a split because I think things are going well. One of my biggest pushes is when the interlocals came to be, I said to the mayors, will you please poll your public? Take a temperature. Dip your toe in the pool and see, is this the right time? And there hasn't been a pool. There was another feasibility study that happened, and it came back that, it's feasible for the central area to go out. But the problem is that like all feasibility studies, it may come back and say you can, but just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that you should, because there's other things to consider. And so we need to, I think we owe it to our public. If we're working on this, I'm just asking for a soft pause so we can get all these essentials put in place so that the split can work out well, so that these new districts can, hit the ground running, and that we're not disadvantaging children or communities. And so
Sarah,
I think we owe a timeline to give to our public.
Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah Beeson is a member of the Alpine School Board, has made her case as why you should vote. Would you be voting no? Is that the...
No on both for right now.
No on both.
And doing our best to move forward and getting our ducks in a row so we'll be ready again when it comes back up.
Well, thank you so much.
Straight ahead, we're going to speak to one of your co-board members with the Alpine School District, board member Julie King, who will be speaking on her position and why she's for the split next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
If you've been thinking about losing some weight, not quite sure how to do it, maybe tried it on your own in the past, I'd like to tell you, you may want to consider actually getting a program and paying for a program. It's what I did with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, and it's not easy. It's not easy to pay for a program and to do something that you should be doing anyway, which is eat healthy. But I will tell you, paying for the program helped me stay consistent. It helped me stay on the program, and overall, I lost 57 pounds in just 60 days with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to them by going to their website, SLC Fat Loss. There is a free consultation to be had there. All you have to do is go to slcfatloss.com.
When the politicians speak and the headlines become a soupy noise.
Make it great again. Burdened by what has been.
And lost car keys and forgotten passwords overwhelm. It's time to turn off the screens and take a break. Join KSL for the 194th Semi-Annual General Conference of The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Coverage begins Saturday morning at 9:30. Take conference with you at 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and on the app for KSL News Radio.
Winter is coming, but there's still time to replace those drafty old windows before the cold comes and drives up your heating bill. Just make one call and take advantage of the Advanced Window Products Fall Special. $2,500 off on 10 windows or more, and that's $2,500 off their already low factory direct prices, because at Advanced Window Products, they're the factory. Your windows are built in their facility right here in Salt Lake City. You're buying local, and with their lifetime guarantee, you don't ever have to call some faraway state for help. Advanced Window Products is right here, proudly backing up their work. So make one call, save on your heating bill, and get a rebate from the energy companies. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing. They can even give you amazing new windows with no money down. And don't forget, $2,500 off their factory direct prices, but you have to call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, This is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates. This weekend only, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, police documents say the wife of a missing National Guard member accused of his murder has confessed to a confidential informant. Second, President Biden says the U.S. has been talking to Israel about how it might respond to the Iranian missile attack earlier this week. And third, Utah's chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness is in a financial crisis, may need to lay off staff. Right now, 66 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We just wrapped up a conversation with a school board member in the Alpine School District where a potential for a three-way, it might just be a two-way, but a three-way split might happen in the largest school district in the state. The school board member we just spoke with says she's got some concerns about the split. She articulated those, and now we're going to speak to a school board member by the name of Julie King, who's also in studio with us, about why she agrees with the split.
Julie, the first question I have whenever we talk about district splits, I'm always concerned about the cost, because obviously when you split up a district, and if you split it up three ways especially, you're talking about new superintendents, new staff. You've got to divide up all the assets, where the building's going to be, transportation, buses. I mean, it just turns enormous, and there is an economies of scale when you are able to even have a large school district. Can you talk to me about that and why it is worth it financially to divide up the Alpine School District?
Sure. So there's already some infrastructure pieces in place. One of the things with Alpine is because we're so large, we do have what's kind of experiencing a diseconomies of scale. So, for example, we already have a transportation west, a transportation east. So we already have two bus service dynamics. We also have a situation where we have special needs schools for some of our most significantly needy students, and we already have one in the east as well as in the west. As far as additional infrastructure costs, yes, everyone will need a district office. The south area, if there is a three-way, has multiple schools that have been closed that they could choose to renovate or utilize as a district office. And the west side already has some pieces in place in conversations with city council members for some possibilities moving forward that would actually significantly reduce the cost to taxpayers. So infrastructure is something that we have been working on, and it's something that I think is already significantly covered and won't make I don't think it's going to have the financial impact that people are worried about. Yes, you will have to duplicate your superintendent and business administrator. But for example, we have 5 elementary supervisors. Each area would need 1, maybe 2, not 5. So there would be also a shrinking of responsibilities based on the size to adjust.
Julie, what brought you to the conclusion that it is time for the Alpine District to split?
So there were several reasons for me. A big one for my area, I live on the west side, so I'm part of the West Interlocal in Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, Cedar Fort, and Fairfield. We have a significant representation issue because our area is growing so quickly and will continue to grow for the next at least 40 years. Eagle Mountain alone is 52 square miles and only 25% built out. Because we are growing so fast, Lehigh, Saratoga, Eagle Mountain, the fastest growing cities in the state. When we go to redistrict, we have so many people move in a year or 2 years that automatically in that 2-year period, we are underrepresented. And because we only reboundary every 10 years, that means the voice of the people is significantly, being underrepresented. Another piece for me, we were unable to bond in 2022. And without those general obligation bonds and being able to address some of the capital needs that Sarah mentioned, we're in a really difficult situation trying to address not only the growing needs on the west side, but the seismic issues of some of our schools on the east side. We have 2 high schools that need a final phase of a rebuild. We have issues all over the district. If we can't pass a $600 million bond, but we have 3 areas that can pass a $200 million bond and resolve those issues for students, I think that's the best thing for communities long term.
What happens to the Orem area? Because as we're dividing things up, I know Orem had talked about maybe splitting and creating their own district. That got voted down. In the Alpine School District, that is a crucial part of it, but it is an older school or area, largely built out. What happens to those folks?
So we sometimes refer to it as the Love PG area because it's Linden, Orem Vineyard, and the Pleasant Grove area. Those cities did have an opportunity to form an interlocal, and they chose not to, which is why their voters will not have an opportunity to vote on the ballot upcoming. All of those areas have challenges, and all of the areas that we're talking about for splits have absolutely thriving communities. So one of the things that's great about Orem is that they're the second largest property tax producer in the district. They have the tax dynamic. Will there be some challenges as they face declining enrollment? Absolutely. At the same time, we're talking about school closures, and we're talking about dynamics where the west side's growing significantly. Should Orem, Linden, Vineyard, and Pleasant Grove residents choose whether or not their schools get closed or choose whether their taxes go up or a combination of the two? And is it better for them to have closer representation, to have their voice heard, than having, for example, the school board members in Alpine School District, we represent more people than a state house representative does. And if local school boards are supposed to be local, at what point do you stop having local representation?
So how many people do you represent?
I want to say it's probably close to about 60,000 people that I represent. So
this would, if it's approved, and I know that's still yet remains to be seen, you'd have a district and a separate school board for each of these areas, that depending on what's decided.
Exactly. So each of the districts, it's in state code based on how many students you have, how large your school board is. So every school board would have 7 members, whether that was 1 district, 2 districts, or 3 districts. So you could go from 7 board members to 21. And when you're in, you don't have to convince somebody who lives in the west side that schools are overcrowded because they live it every day. You don't have to convince someone in Orem about a seismic issue with their school because they live it every day. You don't have to convince someone in Lehigh that changes need to be made because that's their reality. And by bringing it closer to the community, are we able to solve problems on a faster, better scale? And is that a better situation for our students and our employees and our communities long term?
Sorry, I don't fully understand what happened with Orem. Why? I guess maybe the details, and ultimately what's going to happen if you do end up voting and into another couple districts. What happens to that Love area?
So the Love PG area would become a 3rd district.
Okay, a de facto district.
So West Side has a vote, Central has a vote, and if those 2 choose to go forward, Love PG would become a 3rd district.
So what happens if one votes yes and the other votes no, or it's all up or down?
Well, no, it's each area decides. So if the west side goes through, the central fails, it would be a two-way split, and basically from Lehigh down to Orem would be another district, and the west side would be their own district.
All right. I'm sure getting a lot of questions from voters about this. Is this a situation that the voters in that area care deeply about and are aware of?
Absolutely. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to address the issue. We've been trying to communicate with voters very early on about what's happening. But once again, it's complicated sometimes to get the information out. I know that I've been having town halls essentially every day, meeting with employee groups, meeting with parents, meeting with educators, as we talk about what the concerns are moving forward and how we rectify some of those situations.
What is the number one thing that is going to help students directly with these splits?
I think that there'll be an increased level of community support. When you are closer to the decision-making process, when it's your community contributing, I think that we're going to have an increased impact in the engagement we have in our schools, and I think that benefits everyone from taxpayers to employees to students. And we have phenomenal programs in Alpine School District. All of those, like dual language immersion, special education, career and technical education, those are funded through state and federal programs and will continue to be successful.
And that was definitely something that we had heard from residents in Orem, where they said, listen, we're building schools left and right. They're growing like crazy, but they are also 30 miles away from us. I don't feel represented, and that's one of the complaints that we often heard from Orem. So thank you so much for joining us, Julie King with the Alpine School Board.
Enjoy your ride back with your co-board member.
I love that you guys drove
Sarah
up
Beeson.
together.
Thank you both for joining us. They've been waiting in the hall together, and now they're going to drive back down to the Utah County area together. We really appreciate you taking the time to walk through both sides, those who are for, those who have concerns against these very, very important decisions that are facing families in the Alpine School District. Of course, you'll stay in touch with us because we'll want to speak to you after the election. All right. One city in Davis County, we think they're thinking way outside the box when it comes to addressing Utah's housing crisis. In fact, Dave, you were so impressed with their out-of-the-box pitch, you went there. Give us
road trip.
Give us a sneak peek.
I love it. You can be your own developer. Divide up your lot and sell a home from your own lot. Yeah, does it sound crazy? A little bit. It's the only city in the state that's doing this, but it might not be the only city that tackles this.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. The National Alliance on Mental Illness in Utah is suspending all of its programs because of financial issues. KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson has more.
The announcement comes a day after NAMI Utah started a social media campaign hoping to increase support for its free programs. Executive Director Robert Westman told the Salt Lake Tribune they're pausing all programs while they reorganize the nonprofit. Financial reports filed with the IRS show the nonprofit has reported a net loss for the last 2 years.
Westman says they will be laying off some employees, didn't say just how many might lose their jobs. The Tooele Army Depot says it's going to be conducting operations again today to demilitarize old weapons that could cause booms across the Wasatch Front. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The death toll from Hurricane Helene across the South now close to 200. President Biden visits Florida and Georgia today. He flew over the devastation in North Carolina yesterday. Rescue workers still trying to reach some remote communities near Asheville, North Carolina. Roads and power lines have been destroyed in that region. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day 131 points right now. The NASDAQ is up by about 12. And our KSL weather, we've got sunshine and things get real warm tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Yesterday, Debbie, I got a text from my mom, and my mom's a GIF master, so she sends me like a giggling GIF of Anna from Frozen, awesome. And she said, "Hey, Dave, I use those people that you guys advertise with, Mountain Home Services. I can't believe how they cleaned out my fireplace. It has fuller flames, like in the beginning. I'm so happy."
Oh, that's so exciting, Barb. That's awesome. Okay, we know that we absolutely love the fact that you gave them a call. Master Electrical Service, we've been talking about them for months now. They have joined forces with Mountain Home Services. That's who came to your mom's home. And they obviously did a great job because she texted you right away. Of course, Master Electrical is known for its wonderful electrical service, your EV chargers, your generators. And now that they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services, they can do a lot more.
Yeah, they do the heating and air, plumbing, and fireplaces. And that's where my mom heard about it, and she loved it. Like I said, no one loves fireplaces more than Mom, and they did a great job for her. So if you're interested in a new fireplace or any of the other services that Mountain Home offers, go to mountainhomeutah.com.
801-543-2222. And again, that phone number is 801-543-2222.
Utah's biggest used RV Palooza is back and better than ever. This October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown, you're getting the best deals of the season on used travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, motorhomes, and more. Shop gently used RVs at the show and save thousands over fall pricing anywhere else. Find deals starting as low as $9,995, like on a 2021 Forest River Viking LS Series M238 LS tent camper. Plus, shop select new RVs at used pricing, not to mention blowout pricing on all remaining 2024s in stock. You'll also enjoy no payments until 2025 on approved credit. Finish your fall camping season in style without a single monthly payment. And if you've got a trade, we want it. Bring it to the show to get maximum trade-in value. We're even including a 1-year Fish Fix membership with every RV purchase. Your fast track to RV service repairs. And don't miss out on our Hunter Special section to keep your hunting season going strong. All this plus free admission to the Utah Used RV Palooza. 3 days only, October 10th through the 12th at the shops at Southtown. Open daily at 10 a.m. Sponsored by Bish's RV. See you there.
Being prepared for an emergency is vital to you, your family's, and your community's well-being. Unfortunately, if you don't know how to survive the initial impact of a disaster, then your other preparations don't really matter. It is vital to know and practice the protective actions associated with specific hazards in your area. What are protective actions? Protective actions are the immediate things you need to do to protect yourself and others from the initial impact of a hazardous incident. One example you learned in school is the protective action for if your clothes catch on fire. Stop, drop, and roll. Woo! Another example is the protective action for earthquakes. Drop, cover, and hold on. As you learn the protective actions for different hazards, practice and teach them to those you care about. For more information on protective actions and how you can prepare for disasters in your neighborhood, visit beready.utah.gov. Be ready, Utah!
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Len Thomas.
Well, down in Parley's Canyon, constricted traffic flow. This is eastbound I-80 from Mountain Air to past Mountain Dell. Mark Christie Hansen reports, and I see them now. Orange cones are taking the right shoulder in the right lane. This is half a mile west of East Canyon. That is, it looks like it goes all the way up to Lambs Canyon from there, leaving the middle and left lane, heading up the hill and over to Kimball's Junction and on to Wyoming. Otherwise, I-15 sailing along Spanish Fork to Willard Bay. I'm Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm and sunny today with a high around 81. We could set a record tomorrow with a high near 90. And right now, we're at 68 degrees with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, we talk a lot and we complain a lot about being priced out of housing. We worry about our kids being able to purchase a home. But we sent Dave on a field trip to the city of Farmington, where he went in search of a solution to Utah's housing crisis. Tell us what you found.
Well, number one, we know home prices here, brutal. Salt Lake County, $540,000 for a home. Davis County, $520,000 for a home. But it was Davis County was in Farmington City, which was the neighbor to the town I grew up in Kaysville. And they had a very, very interesting idea. And I want to walk you through, but there's a few terms we have to establish first to have this conversation.
Sure.
And number one, it's ADU, accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
Now, when I say that, what pops up into your brain when I say ADU?
Yeah, a little house in the back of my lot.
Yeah.
That it's a separate home, not attached. That's what I think of.
So that's definitely what an ADU is, but they call that now a detached accessory dwelling unit because there's an IADU as well.
Of course there is.
An internal accessory dwelling unit.
Oh, that's like a basement apartment.
That's like your basement apartment. Sure. So there's a few things that I learned. And number one is that state code has made internal accessory dwelling units pretty standard.
So the basement apartments,
the
pretty
basement
standard.
Apartments, just about everyone can do that.
And when you say state code, you mean state law.
State law.
Yeah, state law. Lawmakers have said, yeah, this should be something people should be allowed to do.
Yeah, you don't need to hide it anymore because so many people are like, I finished it. Don't tell anyone that I got someone living in my basement. Largely, you can do that now.
Okay.
Okay, so this detached accessory dwelling unit is fascinating for this because we think, oh, well, would I be able to rent it out? Well, Farmington said, yeah, you can rent it out, but how about this? You can sell that. So if you build a little something in your backyard, you can actually sell that and it will be a home. It will be considered a home, just like the one that you are actually living in. And we talked to Dave Peterson, and this was almost an aha moment for us. We called him to talk about ADUs, and this was like a bombshell that he dropped.
So, and he works for Farmington City.
Yes.
Yeah, and he called the show a couple weeks ago to talk about ADUs.
What we started in July was now a detached accessory dwelling unit in somebody's yard or side corner yard can be a for sale unit on its own lot. And the lot size is dictated by the building code.
And when he said that, it took me back, and I thought, wait, what are you saying? Sorry, Dave. Let me just clarify that. So if I own a home, say I'm on a third of an acre, and then I build an accessory dwelling unit, are you saying that I could sell that on my third of an acre of a lot?
Yes, and even though it could occupy maybe of that 30,000 plus square feet that's in your lot, it can occupy, well, it's 2/3 of an acre, but it can occupy maybe 2,000 square feet and a 1,000 square foot ADU, for example.
So it was so shocking. So let's just picture your home that you are living in right now, folks. Do you have enough room in your lot where you could throw 1,000 square foot home? Now that doesn't even count the basement. So it's just 1,000 foot footprint.
Like a rambler. And then you dig out the basement if you want to. I guess you wouldn't have to.
You could. Yeah. It doesn't count against it, but you could have a 1,000 square foot home in your backyard.
Yeah. I don't know if my former backyard would have been sloped properly, but I certainly had a lot of room.
Okay, so you had enough room. Well, this is not going to require you to, say, pour a new driveway or to have direct access to that. So
I don't have to put it like on the curb.
No.
So they have curb access to a garage.
Yeah, it literally can be in your backyard, and as long as there is access, that you can get through a gate and you can get there fairly easily, you can create this detached ADU.
So after you and I spoke with Dave Peterson from Farmington City about this concept that was like our aha light bulb moment, you arranged a personal field trip for yourself up to Farmington City, like stop in there one day on your way home up north. And can you walk us through what you saw?
So he sat down and he showed me the presentation that they gave to the city. They've talked to cities and towns. And then I started driving around Farmington looking at some of the examples and looking at some of the lots. And let me give you an idea. Sure, what goes into my mind is building it in somebody's backyard, where you have to walk through a gate, and now you're going through somebody else's gate to get into your house without direct access, and that was kind of odd. But when I was looking at some of these lots, a corner lot was particularly easy because you could create easy access. So maybe your lot or your home is in one section, your backyard still has road access. Well, then it just feels like a little subdivided lot, like just a little extra, a smaller home. So
was the ADU on a corner of the larger lot, and then the family's home was more centered probably on the lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you're eating up some of the backyard. You're eating up a chunk of the backyard. You're putting a home there, and then all you have to do is have one extra parking place available. So that parking place would include the home's primary driveway. But it doesn't require you to pour a huge, parking area into this new ADU. So it's a little clumsy. And I thought, well, this seems a little weird. What is your thinking behind it? And he said, okay, let me give you an example. You raise your children in this home. You had 3 children, I had 4. When those kids move out, I had a 5-bedroom house. I just, for 3 of us, I didn't need all of
under
those
one
bedrooms,
roof.
all under one roof. So he said, think about this. If you're able to build a home, an ADU, a smaller footprint ADU, parents could move into the smaller ADU. They could downsize.
What?
And then
hold on.
And then the kids could move into the bigger house as they're raising their family.
Right. I can
That's
see
how
the
they
logic.
envisioned it.
Yeah.
And what they're calling that is age in place.
Oh,
so
I see.
instead of having to downsize, sell your home, then find something elsewhere, you could just stay in the home that you grew up in. And I thought, okay, well, that's starting to make a little more sense than have a total stranger living behind me.
So I want to pick your brain a little bit more, if you don't mind. I want to. You went there, you visited with them, you drove around, and you make it sound like this is delightful. Like, this is amazing. Mama Deb could age in place in a backyard with her kids moving into the 2,000 square foot home, and she goes and lives in the 1,000-foot ADU. Okay, there's got to be some downsides.
Yeah.
I want to talk about those next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Someone asked me the other day, how many devices the average home has connected to their Wi-Fi network? It's way more than I thought. I actually went home and counted how many connected devices I own. More than a dozen, all to keep me connected to the good stuff. Streaming, my gaming, all my interneting, you name it. Xfinity knows the number of devices we have connected to our internet is growing by the year. That's why they engineered their gateways to handle hundreds of connected devices. Hundreds. For real. Now through October 10th, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 2 years with unlimited data when you add unlimited mobile. Plus, get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 monthly value included at no extra cost, and ask how to get an eligible free 5G phone with Xfinity Mobile. Make sure your home Wi-Fi can handle everything you throw at it and then some. Click, call, or visit a store today. Xfinity. Bring on the good stuff. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account, equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet after promo. Regular interest rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
This weekend is the 194th semi-annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And our coverage right here on KSL News Radio begins Saturday morning at 9:30. A couple of ways you can listen to us. Of course, always at 102.7 FM, or you can download our free KSL News Radio app and listen to us, listen to a conference and listen to our special reports all weekend long right on your phone.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Hi, I'm Miley O'Keefe. In competitive gymnastics, flexibility and precision are crucial, and Les Olson IT knows how important flexibility and precision are to your business. It's why they deliver the very best IT security, office equipment, collaborative technology, and so much more. Let Les Olson IT's Perfect 10 service empower your business at lesolsonit.com.
Les Olson IT.
Following 2-1 buy down is at 6.7 APR and 5.89 APR 30-year and MLS 245422. Good news. Mortgage rates are finally coming down. American Home Loans is offering 30-year loans at only 5.75%. Yes, 5.75%. Fixed rate. You can buy a home or refinance at only 5.75% fixed. Call American Home Loans at 801-262-2221. That's 801-262-2221. Now, they also have a 2-1 buy-down program that starts at a 4.5% rate. Yes, only 4.5% rate on a buy-down purchase loan with this program. As rates go down, you can refinance at absolutely no cost to you. American Home Loans has been around for 31 years. They have no origination fees, no points, and the best rates. For a fixed-rate mortgage at only 5.75%, call 801-262-2221. That's 801-262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. You can go farther and save on full synthetic with our oil change special. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic with an STP Extended Life oil filter for just $35.99. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the Utah Office of the National Alliance on Mental Illness has suspended its programs because of funding issues, may need to lay off staff. Second, President Biden will visit Florida and Georgia today to look at the devastation left by Hurricane Helene. And third, Intermountain Health has a green light from Salt Lake City now to build its new hospital on the Sears block downtown. 68 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
We're talking about Dave's field trip to the city of Farmington. He drove up there, was it the end of last week, Dave?
Yeah.
He drove up there after we spoke to David Peterson, who's with the city of Farmington. He'd called the show as we were talking about Utah's housing crisis. And it was a couple of weeks ago we were chatting with him on the air live, and probably some of you heard it, where he kind of dropped a little bit of a curious bombshell on us. And that is that what Farmington City has done is rather unique. They are allowing homeowners to build what's called an accessory dwelling unit on their property, like behind their property or to the side of their property, and then sell it. We were talking about the upsides of that. But one of the things I think we might have missed in that discussion is, we're going to talk about the downsides in just a second, is don't they have restrictions on who they can sell it to when they sell it, so they're not selling off these ADUs to investors?
Yes, in the sense that sometimes you had to sell it to like a family member, or only a family member could stay. There's no restrictions that way. What it does say is you can sell it to whoever you want, but whoever buys it has to live in it for 2 years.
So that's how they get around it being sold to investors. Because that is a concern for a lot of our listeners, is investors, corporations, Wall Street buying up properties in Utah.
So what you would say is go ahead, buy at Wall Street, but you're going to have to live here for the next 2 years. And then once those 2 years are up, there's much more flexibility. You could rent it out. You could use it as a rental property. But at least for those first 2 years, the owner that purchases it has to live on site.
Okay, so let's get to the downsides that you detected during this field trip.
Number one, architectural compatibility with the neighborhood. And they've identified this. When they were pitching this to the city council, they listed these things. So I'm pulling these downsides directly from their self-awareness when they were pitching this plan. And the number one was the architectural compatibility with the neighborhood. So obviously, when you have a developer comes in, puts a neighborhood together, oftentimes these homes are similar in style. They look the part. They look like they belong. In fact, I think we've all been through neighborhoods where you have that odd duck house that was built in a different time, and it just looks out of place. So obviously with these ADUs that are being built, either in someone's backyard or in the side lot, they are going to look different. There's no demands that the builder, the homeowner, make it look like all the other homes in the neighborhood. So that is a downside. You're going to have this strange building, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah, depending on.
And maybe it flows beautifully, but there's no guarantee that that's going to flow with the neighborhood. Number two, neighbor impact. And that one, that's probably what would affect me more than anything, is when you purchase a home, you have an expectation. Oh, well, this is who my neighbors are. This is the space that I can expect, the privacy. If someone builds an ADU in your backyard, now all of a sudden it starts encroaching in on your privacy.
Yeah.
Now,
or like a little too close to the fence line kind of privacy?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, a little close to the fence line. There's windows. There's traffic. There's people coming in and out far more, and you didn't realize maybe your backyard haven and an oasis is not quite as private as you thought it would be. So the neighborhood impact obviously could play a role. The third thing is parking. And this is a tough one.
This
and
is the one neighbors really complain about.
Absolutely, especially here in Utah, where we have several months out of the year where we tell people you cannot park on the road. The snowplows have to be able to get through. This is absolutely something that happens in Farmington, where they say you cannot park on the road.
So just let me add to that. In my community, it's on snow days you can't park on a certain side of the road. Now, this does create a challenge if you can only park on like one side of the road, because then everybody's just parking on that one side. So I can see where if you're adding like 3 or 4 ADUs and 2 people live in each ADU on that block, that's a lot of your parking's taken up.
Yeah.
Your street parking, yeah.
Exactly. One of the requirements when you build an ADU is you have to have at least one parking spot dedicated for that ADU. So if you build something in the backyard and you have one extra spot in your driveway, because that's how they measure it. They measure inside your garage. So if you have a 2-car garage, that's 2. And then your driveway would be 2 other places.
So somebody's parking behind your car, though.
Yes, which is weird, right?
Well, if you've raised kids, you have. You know, and
don't
they have
park
a car.
behind me. I got to get out in the morning.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yep.
Like, wake up. I
Yes.
need your keys. Where are your keys? I got to move your car. Yeah, that's tricky.
So that you're basically sharing your driveway with that ADU. Now, what if that ADU has 2 drivers or 3 drivers or 4 drivers in the home? Well, there's only a requirement to have one parking place in the ADU. So parking could be a problem because everybody's parking along the streets permanently, and then what happens in the winter when you're supposed to be off the streets, that's the headache.
Dave and I are talking about a recent field trip he took to the city of Farmington after Farmington City called into the show to talk to us about their unique solution to Utah's housing crisis by allowing homeowners who have a good-sized lot build an accessory dwelling unit on their lot. They could then turn around and sell it. Now, the new owner is compelled to live there for a couple of years, so they can't just sell it to, for example, an investor is going to turn around right away and rent it out. Dave just he explained the upsides to this, and now he's explaining what they're seeing as the downsides.
Crowded. It can feel crowded. And I wonder how many folks will look at this as a real viable way to invest in a new home. Because we keep saying when we say ADUs, it almost sounds like a temporary thing. Well, this would be more permanent. This would be something where you could buy your home, you're gaining equity in it, but it can get crowded. So if you're on a quarter-acre lot, that's maybe 10,000, 11,000 square feet, they are allowing, let's say, 2,000 square feet of that in that backyard or side yard, wherever it might be. 2,000 square feet of that can be used for an ADU. So, yeah, if you've got an acre and you've got this, tons of space, then sure, you won't even feel that. But if you're on a quarter-acre lot and you have your regular home, you have a backyard, and then you throw another house in the backyard, then you can feel very cramped and crowded.
Did you drove around to look at some of these lots, and what's your final takeaway?
Well, I think it makes a ton of sense for these very large lots. I saw some lots that are very big. I thought, you could drop one in and wouldn't give a second thought about it. Then I drove into some of the areas where, they're in the middle of the street. They don't have easy access. You'd be walking through someone's gate, essentially, to get to your home, where it felt very awkward. And I thought, I don't know if that would work. It would feel cramped. It would feel crowded, all those things. So in some cases, it makes all the sense in the world. In others, I thought, no one would do this.
But does all this just quickly need to be city approved before anybody builds this?
You got to get city approval, but they've been very lenient and liberal in approving these things.
Thanks, Dave.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. A new community-focused hospital is coming to downtown Salt Lake City, where the old Sears store used to be. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more.
The campus will feature more than just healthcare facilities. An open-air plaza will go with a food truck zone, and other venues like a local coffee shop and a salon will be built on campus grounds too. For now, there isn't a construction timeline, but IHC was given the green light at a city council meeting on Tuesday.
Council members say they're grateful for Intermountain's coordination during the planning phase of that proposal. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden on his way to Florida and Georgia to look at the destruction caused by Hurricane Helene. At a news conference this morning, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp said more than 250,000 customers are still without power in his state.
Previously, the worst storm Georgia Power had ever dealt with, they had 1,700 poles that needed to be replaced. Currently, there are over 8,000 that have to be replaced.
The president visited North Carolina yesterday, and Vice President Harris, former President Trump have also been to areas hard hit by the storm. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now, 322 points on the day. The NASDAQ is down 95. And our KSL weather, warm today and really warm tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
I finally decided a few months ago that enough was enough with the high electrical bills in the summer and the high heating bills in the winter, and it was time to replace our builder-grade windows of our 20-year-old home with the latest and greatest windows from Advanced Window Products. Ever since Jake and Nate showed me a demonstration of what a difference the right kind of window can have on my home's energy use, I couldn't get it off my mind. So my wife and I decided it was time, and man, am I glad we did. From the moment Ken showed up to give us a free in-home estimate, we've had such an outstanding experience through the entire process. Within an hour, we had financing set up, and then about 8 weeks later, the crew showed up and did what we thought was going to be a 2-day installation in a single day. Now our home is more comfortable. Our electrical bills have started to drop. We qualified for Energy Tracks credits to help pay for the windows. And we even took advantage of their expertise and replaced our sliding glass deck door with one that has a pet door built in. Look, I know you don't make a decision like this on a whim. You do your research. So do that. But make sure you call Advanced Window Products at 801-850-9100, and you can get a special deal of $3,000 off 10 windows or more if you mention Andy when you make the appointment. 801-850-9100 or go to advancedwindows.com.
Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Jump on your brooms and join us for a fantastic fall break. Here's what's brewing. The North Logan Pumpkin Walk, October 10th through the 15th. Okay, there's no way to describe this amazing and colorful experience, but I will try. There are hundreds of carved pumpkins, plus dozens of displays crafted from painted pumpkins, gourds, and other random vegetables. You have to see it for yourself, and it's free. Celebrate Utah's Harvest Heritage, October 18th and 19th at the American West Heritage Center's Fall Harvest Festival. Grain threshing, apple pressing, pony rides, train rides, antique tractors, games, and fun. Get your scream on all month long for spooky encounters on the historic downtown Logan Ghost Tour, or traipsing through a couple of giant corn mazes that may or may not be haunted. Check out live theater and music performances, great restaurants, golf, and USU football games. Head to Logan for funky fall fun. Explore logan.com/fall.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Lynn Thomas.
We're taking a look at Parley's Canyon right now. It looks like a bit of construction constricting the drive in Parley's Canyon from Mountain Dell to about half the way to Lambs Canyon. Traffic getting by in 2 left lanes. Also, construction is affecting northbound I-15 from Roy to the Riverdale turnoff. And on the south end of Bangor, there's some slowing around the corner as traffic heads towards I-15. And looking again back up there by Kimball Junction. Actually, it's US 40, where US 40 comes off of I-80. There's some construction slowing things down as you head down toward 248. Joseph Smith was martyred. Nauvoo was in chaos until God called young Brigham Young. Hundreds witnessed God manifesting his will. See 6 days in August. Sneak peek October 7th. Tickets at Cinemark.com. Len Thomas in the KSL Traffic Center.
Warm and sunny today with a high around 81. We could set a record tomorrow with a high near 90. And right now, 72 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
Well, we're really excited to kind of shift gears a little bit with Boyd Matheson today, although this is still right in his wheelhouse. Of course, this weekend, important weekend, the 194th Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and our coverage right here on KSL News Radio begins at 9:30 Saturday morning, and you can listen to conference, you can listen to our special reports throughout Saturday and Sunday, and Boyd is a big part of that.
One of the things I love about this is because there's such a plethora of topics that we end up covering in between conference, before and after. Boyd, what's your topic this year?
So this year we're going to go after the inspired Constitution. It's really about the timeless principles, the timeless lessons that are very timely, actually, in terms of what we're doing and dealing with today. So my special will air at noon on Sunday. So after the morning session of General Conference on the Sunday, you can just leave your radio on here to KSL News Radio. And we're going to dig into this in some interesting ways. We're going to start with a landmark address from Dallin H. Oaks, first counselor in the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Of course, former judge, sat on the Utah Supreme Court, knows his way around the Constitution like very few people anywhere on the planet. And we'll start with that address in terms of some of the inspired components of the Constitution. We'll also talk with our good friend Judge Thomas Griffith, a retired D.C. Circuit Court judge, and one of the few people, actually I think he's the only person in history who has, at the Senate confirmation hearings for a Supreme Court justice, has done so for both a Republican president and a Democratic president. So he introduced Amy Coney Barrett when she had her confirmation hearings in the Senate under President Trump, and he also was the introducer for Ketanji Brown Jackson during the Biden administration. So a really unique perspective there. We'll also have a good chat with my friend Yuval Levin and his new book, which is called The American Covenant, how the Constitution united the country and how it can again.
So when you say the words inspired Constitution, what do you mean by that?
So there are so many elements to the Constitution that there's simply no way the founders could have fully appreciated even what they were doing. Now, we always talk about them being wise and noble souls. There are a whole lot of things that we got into in these conversations that were really surprising to me. My conversation with Judge Griffith, he pointed out that one of the things the founders were deeply committed to was this idea of we have to have a system that will allow for pluralism, for uniqueness of thought, uniqueness of belief, that we can have people come from all over. And people, we kind of take that for granted. We live in the most pluralistic country on the planet. We have people from everywhere, every space of the planet, every language, every religious, every ethnicity. And there is no possible way, when you think of pluralism in 1787, not a whole lot going on there. I mean, you basically had a little bit of Europe, mostly England, and then the slave trade. That was really what caused diversity in the country. But what they established inside the Constitution was a space for every person of every persuasion and every ethnicity to thrive. There's no way they could have imagined how diverse this nation that was founded not on geography, not on ethnicity, but on these ideals, these principles that they put inside of the Constitution.
That is such a fantastic example. And there are so many other examples of principles that you explore through history, through the Constitution. Is there another one that stands out to you?
Yeah, you know, in my conversation with Yuval Levin, a lot of people, either we were talking about this before we came on air, most people don't read the Constitution except for K through 12 when they have to do that one report, right? And yet it has become this weapon. So on one hand, you have people who wave it around and use it as an excuse to do this or to condemn that. But really, if you get inside it, it's a unifying document because it forces us to work together. From the very beginning, it's we the people in order to form a more perfect union. And I think that is the most important piece of information we have today. Because the question for all of us, not just our politicians and government officials, what will we choose to do together? Because when we choose to do things together, we do extraordinary things in this country. We always have. We overcome barriers, we break down prejudice, we build bridges of understanding, and we march forward together. We make our communities better. And so I think that's the real key, is that it's a unifying document, because every time we choose to do something together, we break down some of those things that people are trying to convince us that we're so divided about.
It feels like we're really polarized, though, right now, Boyd, on a lot of... I appreciate your inspiration, and I am so looking forward to hearing your special. But let's face it, we do feel like we're at odds as a country over many, many issues.
Yeah, and you said the exact right phrase, Debbie. It feels. It feels that we're polarized and divided. And I'm telling you, you can go anywhere in this country, and we are not divided. We're not. It's a myth. It's a lie. It's used by people in power, by people who want to manipulate the system or to get fame or clicks or get elected to office. You can go to any community. You can go to any community in this entire state of Utah today, and I guarantee you, you're going to see a community coming together to help someone who just found out they had cancer. You're going to see a school going out and planting trees and making a difference there. You can go anywhere in this nation. It is everywhere in this nation. And one of the things that is inspired about the Constitution is it forces us to come back to what we choose to do together. What your listeners do every day when they choose to engage in a conversation with the two of you, that's genius. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing
We
that happens.
appreciate them a lot.
No, and it's true. When we choose to engage in a conversation, when we're part of a story and we're part of a conversation, that's the magic. That's the secret sauce of America, guys. That is it, and you're part of it. And everyone who's listening right now, you're part of it. So go out and do something about it. And what we choose to do together will unite us as a nation, and that feeling of being divided will evaporate like the mist before the morning sun. It is not a real thing. It is a mirage.
We just had an incredible example of that, Boyd. We were talking to a couple of school board members from the Alpine School District, and one was against a proposed Alpine School District split. The other one was for. So we had a for and against. They drove up together. They drove up together in the same car, and they were joking, maybe one of us is going to have to get an Uber on the way home. But no, they came here together. They disagreed. And then they packed up, got in the car, and then they drove home.
Probably stopped and got a swig on the way home.
Yeah, they grabbed a little something.
And a cookie.
and so often we think that just because we disagree with one another, that we can't ride in the same car. We can't have the same...
Or sit in the same studio.
Yeah. Tear down the wall, Debbie. Debbie, tear down this wall.
We agreed at the beginning of this show, was it 7 years ago, that we would always leave whatever disagreement that we had in the studio.
Yeah.
And it's worked.
Yeah. And that's one more of the inspired principles of the Constitution, is that America is always at its best. It is always at its best when we are a country of big ideas and big, open, roiling debate. I mean, the Constitution itself was inspired in the middle of some of the most heated debates in our history. And I always go back to the letter that George Washington sent with the Constitution. So they just put the signatures are on. They're shipping this to Congress for ratification. And George Washington sends a letter with it. And at the last paragraph of the letter, he describes the secret sauce, the magic. He said it started because we were all willing to set aside things that didn't matter. The little things, they just didn't let them matter because they wouldn't let them get in the way from the bigger issue. And then he said it was based on amity, which is friendship, mutual deference, so dignity across our difference, and a willingness to compromise and come together. That's the secret sauce, folks. It's inspired. It's in the Constitution. It's with the letter that went along with it. And we all get to be part of it. And we should never forget that that is what drives this country. And it is the middle and the essence of this country. And don't let anything that cable news or your social media feed is serving up convince you that we're too divided as a country. We're not.
It's the Inspired Constitution. It will play on Sunday at 12 o'clock here on KSL News Radio. Thanks, Boyd.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
If you or a family member are struggling with addiction, whether they are currently in recovery or maybe you just need help, Renaissance Ranch is your go-to.
And the way they help and the way they want to bring families together is they offer free family support services through online classes. They are open to the public, and you can attend as many of these classes as you wish.
And you said they're free, right? They are
super free.
They're taught from a spousal, a parent's, and a personal perspective. It's really easy to look up where to find these classes, and you can attend as many as you want to.
Yeah, just go to renaissanceranch.com. And you will pick the class that applies to you the most. Maybe it's the women's support group. Perhaps it's the couples recovery group.
Faith-based and clinically proven for more than 20 years. And as Dave just said, all you have to do to look up these free classes is go to renaissanceranch.com.
This weekend, it's the fall return of General Conference. KSL is pleased to broadcast live the 194th Semi-Annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Coverage starts both Saturday and Sunday at 9:30. We invite you to join us at 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and streaming live on the app for KSL News Radio.
Nearly 70% of Utah's land is controlled by the federal government, severely limiting Utah's ability to actively manage and protect our natural resources. Our families, businesses, and communities know there's a better way. Utahns have been good stewards of our public lands for generations. That's why we're asking each and every Utahn to get informed, speak up, and learn more at standforourland.utah.gov.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
They say good things come to those who wait. But this October, better things come to those who act now. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and October is the best month to replace your old furnace and air conditioner if you're trying to beat the winter rush. You see, we've structured our pre-season savings so that the sooner you buy, the more you save. Through the end of October, when you have Any Hour Services install your new furnace and air conditioner, you'll save $2,500 off any new system you choose. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. All you have to do to get this deal is get a hold of Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. After we show you what options are available, pick the system that best meets your needs, and we'll take $2,500 off. If you wait until November to call, you'll still save, but not as much. So if you want to save $2,500 off a new furnace and air conditioner, you need to call Any Hour Services before the end of October and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Intermountain Health has a go-ahead from the Salt Lake City Council for its new hospital in downtown Salt Lake. Second, restoring power in the area hit by Hurricane Helene is going to be a huge job. And third, we're learning more now about a murder case involving a member of the Utah National Guard. Police documents say his wife confessed to a confidential informant. 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
This is a really very sensitive topic that we're going to talk about, but it's certainly an important one. We've talked about it many times on this show, and as we usually disclose, transparent, Dave's grandmother and aunt were murdered many, many years ago, and there is somebody on death row for their murders. And this is not a special this weekend that you've been involved with, Dave, but in fact, our Greg Skordas and our KSL at Night host, Adam Gardner, brought in a panel of local clergy and religious scholars to talk about the ethical, the legal, and the moral implications of capital punishment. And this special will air during the 194th semi-annual General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ, or outside of that at noon on Saturday, because the morning session of conference runs from 10 to noon, and then this special will air immediately after. But I want to get your immediate thoughts about this before we bring on Greg Skordas, because I always want to give this moment to you and your family as well.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle trying to deal with capital punishment, the death penalty. There is a lot of, we are torn, right? It is a difficult conversation to be had, but there are, in our family's estimation, the way we feel about it is there are a very select few. There's a few crimes that are committed that are so horrific, so premeditated, so awful, that justice, in our estimation, is death. And we do support the death penalty in our family. And we are highly religious. We're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I don't speak on behalf of the church in any way. I just speak that because Greg Skordas, as you join us right now, that's who you reached out to. You reached out to local religious leaders and scholars to discuss this very topic. And let's just take it from there. What made you want to do a special on the death penalty?
You know, Dave, I struggle with it as well. And we had the Chad Daybell trial in Idaho just a few months ago, and he was put on death row. We had the Tabarone Honey execution here in Utah, which was the first one we'd had in 14 years in relation to a horrific crime he committed 25 years ago. And there's just been a lot of discussion because it's brought the death penalty back to the forefront again and back into the media. And we tried to break it down in terms of the law and, like Debbie said, the religious aspect of it. We even talked to Adam Gardner about the legislature's appetite moving forward to change the death penalty, if at all. But one of the most significant segments that we did on the special did have three representatives of various religions here. We had a scholar from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We had a father from the Catholic Church and a prominent local rabbi. And I wish we could have just taped and just listened to them talk for 2 hours, Dave. I mean, it was something else. It was magical to hear their perspective and to compare and contrast that with what the law of the land is and how religions sort of have their own feelings about the death penalty, but their ultimate respect for, what our government does and what our legislature does and what our laws are right now in the state of Utah.
Greg, I want to play for our listeners just about a 1-minute clip from your special, which airs this Saturday at noon, and this is Father Martin Diaz of the Catholic Church explaining the Christian difference between justice and mercy. Let's listen.
We know that God's mercy is greater than God's justice. So God is always more merciful than God is just. To taking that as a way of life would be, yes, what kind of justice can we get? How do we set the picture right, make it just? So taking that person from society, placing them in incarceration, making sure that society is safe, that seems a just solution. The mercy is that we give that person a chance to understand what they did and that they're responsible for it, and to seek that forgiveness from the people that were hurt, even seeking forgiveness from their own family, that they have hurt their own family, they've hurt society, and to come to that understanding of personal responsibility.
Greg, as you sat there and spoke with Father Diaz, what was your takeaway from his thoughts and his statements?
Ultimately, Debbie, the thing that struck me the most about him was when we talked about the death penalty, that he said, man's laws will never overcome God's laws. And in his interpretation of God's law, and he just stated it there, the death penalty is not appropriate. And so to him, and to what he was saying is, who are we as man to overcome the will of God and impose our own punishment? Now, the scholar from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the rabbi took a different position, which was, we respect man's laws and we will follow those, notwithstanding whatever religion has taught us that that's the law of the land. And as citizens of the United States, we respect the law. And of course, the Catholic priest was saying the same thing. But what it came down to, when I asked him this, I said, if a Catholic who follows that doctrine is asked to serve on a jury on a death penalty case, can they serve? If the question is posed to them, will you follow the law? And he said they could not, because they couldn't, in being consistent with their teachings, follow the law if it required them to impose the penalty of death. They would have to excuse themselves, theoretically, from serving on a jury.
I want to just spend just a few moments playing Rabbi Zippel's take on this as he gives an overview of how the Jewish faith sees capital punishment. Greg?
Does capital punishment exist in Jewish law, in Jewish thought? It does. That mechanism does exist. To say that it doesn't would be textually false. Does it happen often? Should it be something which is happening regularly? I think the same texts indicate no.
So he's saying that it sounds like, and you can certainly interpret this for me, that it should be used rarely?
Oh, incredibly rarely. I mean, in circumstances, and I think I hope our listeners can hear the whole segment. The way he described it, it would be a once in a generation or once in a century execution. And if you were doing something more than that, you'd have to answer to the fathers. You'd have to answer to your parishioners. Why are you carrying out the death penalty in such a way? I mean, it would be so rare that in our lifetimes, Debbie, there probably wouldn't have been a death penalty imposed.
And Greg, I have just about a minute and a half left, but this is just enough time to get in Professor Patrick Mason from Utah State University talking about how members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints view Jesus' death and sacrifice as the last sacrifice. Let's listen.
The Book of Mormon talks about Jesus' death as an infinite and eternal atonement or redemption for humankind. Refers to it as the great and last sacrifice. I read that to mean that was meant to be the last sacrifice. That this ethic of eye for an eye that Father Diaz talked about, that had held sway earlier, that Jesus' death is supposed to end that. We're not supposed to sacrifice other people's lives on the altar of justice or anything else. That we do believe in the redemption and the dignity of all human beings.
And Greg, of course, our listeners can hear much more of your special and these interviews on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday at noon. And that man was brilliant, by the way. I mean, we had such a good panel, Debbie, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity today. I will air noon on KSL Radio during the first day of conference.
Right. Thank you so much, Greg. We appreciate the work you've done on this, as well as Adam Gardner, both KSL at Night hosts. Of course, Greg, a longtime attorney, both a prosecutor and a defense attorney here in the state of Utah. Their special airs Saturday at noon right here on KSL News Radio between conference sessions. If you can't be by your radio and tune in to 102.7 FM, please, in the next day, download the KSL News Radio app. It is free, and you can take us with you everywhere you go and listen on Saturday and Sunday.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Police documents say the wife of a Utah National Guard member confessed to killing her husband to a confidential informant. According to the statement, Jennifer Gledhill told the informant she shot Matthew Johnson in the head while he was sleeping, then moved his body to a shallow grave. Now, police said the couple had been going through a divorce. Jennifer filed for a protective order against Matthew Johnson. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas tells David Dujanovic the commissioner did not find proof of physical violence. There was no evidence that she'd been assaulted.
He didn't request one. He never sought one, and so a judge won't just on his own issue one. She did, and the judge didn't order it. The judge sort of found that both of these people were goading each other, and in fact, it would have been easy. It's easy for us to say now, looking back, for one of them to just move out.
The judge opted not to grant the order. Gledhill got the news just days before the alleged murder. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. About a week after Hurricane Helene flooded communities across the southeast, the death toll continues to rise. It's now at more than 200 people. President Biden visits Florida and Georgia today to get a first-hand look at the storm damage after visiting North Carolina yesterday. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day, 273 points right now. The NASDAQ is down about 35. And our KSL weather looks like sunshine and getting warmer, especially tomorrow. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. When you use Angie for your home projects, you know all your jobs will be done well. Roof repair? Done well. Kitchen sink install? Done well. Deck upgrades? Done well. Electrical upgrade? Done well. Angie's been connecting homeowners with skilled pros for nearly 30 years, so we know the difference between done and done well. Hire high-quality, certified pros at Angie.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I started my soda weight loss journey over a year ago, and it is so nice to be heading into the fall and winter holidays looking and feeling so much better than I did at this time in 2023. Best of all, I let go of that 70 pounds of fat and didn't have to use any medications, get any injections, or deal with any crazy side effects. My fellow soda client Vicky got amazing results too.
I have shed over 72 pounds and lost 47.5 inches of body fat. And I am off of every medication for the first time in my life. Oh my gosh, I'm so ecstatic about that.
Well, that excitement's contagious, isn't it? If you start now, you could be down 30 to even 50 pounds by the end of the holidays. It's as simple as going to sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com and clicking on Request a Nutritionist Callback. Soda is the #1 rated weight loss company in America for client results and client satisfaction. And you know why? Because soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. And here's Ricky Meese.
We've had a fire affecting the roadway in Weber County eastbound Riverdale Road at the I-15 junction. It's been blocking a right lane of travel with crews on the scene. But so far, I'm not seeing that as causing any kind of backup. In fact, good speeds on all your Valley freeways. Sondheim Sweeney Todd is coming to the Capitol Theater October 12th through 20th. Tickets start at $21 at utahopera.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for warm and sunny weather today, a high around 81, and then we could set a record tomorrow with a high near 90. And right now, we're at 72 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, the future of Utah's schools. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
When that alarm bell rings, I just play Dave, my heart starts to pound. It reminds me, it sends me back to high school. I'm running to class. Hey, look, if you live in the Alpine School District, you are facing a really important decision on the ballot. And that decision is about whether or not to split the Alpine School District, the state's largest district, into possibly 3 separate districts. Dave and I went in depth at the top of our 10 o'clock hour. We brought in 2 voices from the Alpine School Board. One has concerns over the split. The other is in favor of a split.
Yeah, and I think there's really good discussions, and and points of view on both sides. And I think this is in part what has made this such a contentious topic, and why people are torn on this, because they're both right.
It's tough, right? We asked about, how does this look for the kids? Sarah Beeson, a member of the Alpine School Board, is concerned about the split. She was right from the beginning said she's really concerned about how this will look for the staff if it's divided. Let's hear from both of them. Let's first hear from Sarah Beeson, and then in a moment Julie King, who is in favor of the split.
It's funny because people say, you're either for or against. And I wouldn't say I'm necessarily against a split, but I'm really concerned with the process of how we are approaching the split. And I believe that the process is just as crucial and as important as the outcome.
In favor of a pause right now, because she has some concerns about what we just referenced as staffing and how the division would look, and among other things.
Yeah, the Alpine School District is very large. It's the largest in the state. But when you do split, you are incurring a lot of extra costs. So when you divide up and you have not just one, but 2 and 3 school districts, that means every school district has to have a superintendent. Every school district has to have a staff. You have to have a building to meet in. You have to make sure your transportation needs are taken care of. So there are a lot of costs that come along with that. And there's an economy of scale that goes on here, where one superintendent can pretty adequately take care of 50 or 60,000 students. That's happening in several districts across this state. But they're saying that there's a diseconomy of scale because Alpine has gotten so big.
So in a moment, I'm going to play some of the interview we did in the 10 o'clock hour with Julie King, who's in favor of the split. But I think it's important to just, for ourselves, take a pause here. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about the Alpine vote for parents, grandparents, anybody who lives in the Alpine School District who is of age to vote. And it's unique in the sense that this might not be a split down the middle, like, once, that might be more than 2 districts. It may be actually 3 districts. So here's how this is going to work. You have Alpine, American Fork, Cedar Hills, Draper, parts of Draper, are in the Alpine District. Highland and Lehigh will decide whether they want to leave the school district and form what's called right now the Central School District. And then you have the west side, which would be Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, Cedar Valley, Fairfield residents will vote on forming what's being referred to right now as the West School District. Now, I want to say the outlier, that might not be the right word, is the Orem area.
Yeah, and if these 2 areas, the Central and the West District, if those end up materializing, then Orem is left without a home, and they would form a 3rd district, kind of de facto 3rd district.
And it's other cities, not just Orem.
Yeah, it's Linden, Orem, Vineyard.
So let's hear now from Julie King, who explained why she's in favor. She was on the west side. There's a lot of growth. Also, as a school board member, she cited that she deals with, 60,000 people in that area, just her alone.
We have a significant representation issue because our area is growing so quickly and will continue to grow for the next at least 40 years. Eagle Mountain alone is 52 square miles and only 25% built out. Because we are growing so fast, Lehigh, Saratoga, Eagle Mountain, the fastest growing cities in the state. When we go to redistrict, we have so many people move in a year or 2 years that automatically in that 2-year period, we are underrepresented.
One of the points that for the pro-split folks is Orem. Let's take Orem for an example. They are largely built out. They have older schools that have been around for a very long time because Orem's is a very old city there in Utah County. And we've heard from residents in Orem, and their frustration is everything in the Alpine School District is closer to the point of the mountain and going west. So all the time, money, and resources are being spent on these burgeoning and blooming and growing communities. And quite frankly, we're the ones that are being forgotten. And that was a lot of the frustration that we were hearing from people in Linden, Orem, and Vineyard. And this, if everyone were to separate, if you were to pass a school bond, then it would directly affect that community. So you would pass a school bond that would help Orem High School and some of these schools that are immediate in your
for their
immediate area. Right now, we saw a $600 million bond fail, in part because a lot of these folks in that area, Linden, Orem, and Vineyard, felt that money that they would be paying in through their property taxes was going elsewhere and too far away and wouldn't affect them.
On the flip side of that, you've got Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, Fairfield, other areas that are growing really fast. I mean, I go out to Saratoga Springs every Saturday for a Zumba class. My goodness, the streets in that area are jam-packed on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And it really brings to light to me, first of all, there's a lot of land out there, which we talked about, and how quickly that area has grown in the time that it started to be developed. There are a lot of young families out there, a lot of traffic, and probably, I would imagine, a lot of needs. Now, I'm not speaking one way or the other. I don't live in the area. But you can see where this starts to bubble up, where it's so big, that district is so big that they're now considering other options in some of the areas.
One of the downsides to being in one of these growing areas is a lot of that infrastructure costs, if you divide it up, falls directly on you, the residents. So when you're building $100 million schools, that falls directly on you. When you have a very large district, then that gets dispersed and it dissipates amongst the entire district. So you do draw from some of Orem to pay for some of these things. When you are your own smaller district, you are also responsible for the capital costs as well.
Straight ahead, I think Dave may have figured out why we might be stuck in our housing crisis for a while. He was shocked, and so was I, when he found out how many Utah residents are locked into a mortgage that's less than 4%. Wow. Good for you all. Not good if you're looking to buy a home. We'll go in depth next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Alpine Home Medical. We bring wellness home.
This is Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical. I'm excited to let you know we're currently having a sale on power scooters. As we celebrate the spirit of freedom and independence, we want to make sure you have the chance to experience it. We have a wide range of power scooters designed to enhance your mobility, and they're all available at a discounted price. These special offers only come around every couple of years, and once they're gone, they're gone. Come visit us at any of our 11 locations to take advantage of these fantastic deals, or you can browse our selection of discounted scooters on our website. We're committed to providing the 5-star experience. We can't wait to assist you in finding the perfect power scooter. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Introducing Peach Doors and Windows. Are you ready to upgrade your home with stunning new windows but are overwhelmed with how to begin? Look no further than Peach Windows. You know at Peach, they are all about giving you options. Peach offers a wide selection of wood windows, sleek modern black metal frames, European tilt and turn windows, plus much, much more. It's not just about looks, it's about durability and security to protect what matters most. Let them help you find the perfect match for your home, budget, and personal style. Visit their showroom and see for yourself. No pushy sales tactics, only guidance from their experienced staff. No inflated markups just to offer so-called discounts. See their 5-star reviews where customers rate them on their attention to detail through every step of the sale and installation process. Amazing home transformations begin with windows and doors. Serving Logan to St. George, just Google Peach Building to see for yourself.
Don't you love this time of year? Fabulous fall colors amongst Red Rock Views and Cedar Breaks in Dixie National Forest. You should take a drive where you'll no doubt enjoy 4 scenic highways connecting you to the most amazing fall colors you will ever see. Put the U back in Utah, because it's all about the journey you create. This fall, see you in Cedar City. If you like nature, start your journey with a stunning hike for the best scenic views and vibrant colors. Or how about mountain biking and OHVing? You will enjoy all the fun fall events, like the charm of an organic farmer's market. Be sure you include a visit to the best pumpkin patches in the West. And don't miss out on the annual Sheep Parade down Cedar City's Main Street, October 26th. You will definitely get it all this fall in Cedar City. To plan your journey and for Cedar City's updated fall color report, activities, and cool foodie places to go, visit cedarcity.com.
Trail mix, beef jerky, mixing all the soda flavors at the gas station soda machine. Snacks are better on the road. The gas is better when it's top tier. And the pit stop is better when there's a dinosaur there. Love the filler moments at a Sinclair gas station near you with DinoCare, our top tier gasoline. Some sweet and salty snacks for the commute, and a big green dino for the memories. Find a gas station near you at sinclairoil.com. Sinclair, fill up your life.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Zenzi is a woman-owned clothing label with a mission to create high-quality, sustainably minded pieces you won't find anywhere else. Founder and designer Sharon Backers joins us with more.
I grew up in Steamboat Springs and began my career as a graphic designer in the cities of New York, San Francisco, and Seattle. I then decided that I missed the mountains and my small town lifestyle, so I moved to Park City where I channeled my passion for design into Zenzi. Zenzi is a contemporary women's wear label, and we are dedicated to using the powers of fashion to help women achieve their dreams. We create beautiful small batch garments inspired by the space between relaxation and refinement. Our collections feature the softest cashmere, embellished details, handwork, and statement imagery. We sew right in the store, and we love to embellish. We add fringe, feathers, patches, and tie-dye to keep things fresh. Join us on our journey of creating well-crafted, sustainable garments. If you're interested in shopping at Zenzi, please visit us at our new store in Salt Lake, or take a look at our website at shopzenzi.com.
Next time you're clothing shopping, consider shopping local and women-owned at Zenzi. Visit them in Park City or at their new boutique in Salt Lake City's Maven District. Learn more at their website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, police have arrested the wife of a man who's been missing since mid-September. A probable cause statement says she admitted the killing to a confidential informant. Second, fire crews say they're making progress on the Yellow Lake wildfire burning near Camas. And third, Utah's Task Force 1 is working in Tennessee to help with the recovery from Hurricane Helene. 72 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, the biggest thing I take away from this Axios article that Dave has been poring over, I'll just be upfront, Dave. It's how many Utahns are locked into a mortgage interest rate under 4%. And I think this spells kind of dire news if you're looking to buy a house.
Because it is tough. It is so tough to leave a great interest rate. And when you have a historic interest rate, then how do you justify it? Because when you start running through the numbers and the math, when you raise just 1 point, then that can add hundreds, perhaps even thousands to your mortgage payment. But if I'm at a 3.5% or 4% interest rate, and now I'm looking at a 6%, you've nearly doubled your mortgage payment in some cases.
Axios reports lower rates could free up some of Utah's housing. I guess the philosophy being if the rates continue to go lower, people will be more inclined to jump into the market or sell their house.
Yeah, if you've got a 4% interest rate and rates are down around 5.5% or 6%, you might be more willing than if it's at 7%.
But they go on to say homeowners here have some of the lowest rates in the nation, with about 3/4 paying less than 4% for a 30-year fixed mortgage.
And that was the shocker. I didn't realize that if you're looking at all the mortgage payments in this state, that 3/4 of them, 75% of them, are paying 4% or less. So when you are looking at a 6.5% interest rate, then of course that is going to impact your decision making, and you're not going to leave.
And it looks like there's another issue, is that prices are going back up again. Am I reading that right, Dave? $550K now, median price reaching $550K.
Yeah,
which is the highest since it peaked 2 years ago at $560.
And this is sometimes what happens is when the interest rates come down, the cost of the home will go up, because so many people will make a decision on the home they buy on what they can afford monthly. Not really paying attention to the top line cost. If it's an extra $20,000, well, you spread that over 30 years, and it's a few dollars extra a month. So people don't make it they don't worry as much about the overall cost. It's, okay, well, how does this affect my bottom line, which is my monthly mortgage payment?
I may be off slightly, and believe it or not, I probably still have these documents. But when we signed on our first home together, I had a condo and I sold it, but we bought our first home together. I want to say our interest rate was in the 7s. So that would have been 1995, in the spring of 95. I think the home was about $157,000. I know. It's terrible what's going on now, because I'm looking at this on my screen at $550K, and my heart sinks. But our payment was about $1,100 a month, and then as those rates started to drop, which, by the way, rates were higher then than they are right now. We refied to a slightly lower payment. It wasn't a huge savings, but it was enough that we were interested in refining.
Well, it's a very important conversation to have, because we bemoan the fact that we're not in that 2.5%, 3.5% mortgage rate that we enjoyed for several years there. But I was listening to an economist the other day, and he said, we want to celebrate these 2.5% and 3.5% interest rates, but he tied the overall cost of the home and the inflation of the home to those low interest rates, because the mortgage payment was so affordable. So let's say when you were buying a home, when I bought my first home, it was $160,000 and it was a 6.5% interest rate. Well, my monthly payment, I think, was $1,500, right? And that's what I really cared about. It was that $1,500.
Could you make that payment every month?
Yeah, could I make that payment?
Yeah.
But now when you had rates that were 2.5% or 3.5%, I could still get that $1,500 a month payment, but the home could be $300,000 plus. It doubled in cost, and it didn't really affect me because my interest rate was so good. And
did you refi?
Do
you remember? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that train of thought, but that was one of the things that we did as soon as the rates went down, is we figured out if it was worth refinancing.
Yeah, I refied several times because they just kept going down.
Mm-hmm.
I think I refied it at 5%, and then at 4.5%, and then again at 3.5%. I refied several times just because the interest rate was helping me so much on that monthly payment. But those low interest rates, again, if you're not paying attention to the overall cost of the home, and all you care about is that monthly interest rate, then that's how the overall cost of the home can creep.
Oh, curious. Okay, I hadn't thought about it that way. Well, this Axios article ends with this thought. A legislative report last year found Utah needs about 28,000 new housing units a year to keep pace with the state's growing population. Well, it might help if these interest rates fall in that regard, because people will start moving again. I don't blame you if you have a 2.75% interest rate or a 3.25% interest rate. Why would you move? Yeah, I don't blame you. I can see this from both sides. On the other side, there's the 27-year-old we spoke to this week who's like, I want to get in a home, and everything feels so out of reach. Many of our listeners feel this way, like you're grasping at ropes of sand because prices go up, interest rates are high, makes it impossible to qualify for a home. This is messy. It's sticky.
I can speak to why I decided to do this very thing. Like I said, I was at a 3.5% interest rate, and I jumped up to just over 6%. And the reason we decided to make that decision is because we wanted to cash out on the equity of our home. Our home had appreciated in such an enormous way that it made financial sense. And oftentimes you can sit on a very good interest rate, but you're not realizing any of those gains. They're all paper gains. And until you actually sell that home, then you don't get to enjoy those benefits. And ultimately, that's what my wife and I decided, is we wanted to enjoy the benefits of the huge amount of equity that we had gained over the years.
And you sold your home to a family?
Yeah, we sold a home to a young family. It was like a mini version of the Noriegas. It was like the Noriega 20 years ago.
And no regrets?
No, they loved the house. We're so happy.
Any regrets? You have
no,
any regrets?
No, we love it. No, we loved the move. We downsized, and it's been a great move.
No, I'm happy for you guys.
But maybe we're in the honeymoon phase. Nothing's breaking yet.
Hey, if you could live your life in the honeymoon phase, that would be perfect. Great conversation. 75% of homeowners in Utah, according to this Axios report, have that lovely 4% interest rate, maybe even a little less. Hey, Maria and her team have a lot more on the Utah National Guardsman who was originally reported missing. Now, as we reported this morning, his wife has been arrested, accused of murdering him.